Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4playernetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy. Episode 703. It is December 2nd, 2021. We're almost done with another year, and you know what that means. It's time to talk about the best and worst games of the year. Although that's not technically what we're doing tonight. Tonight, we're going to talk about the Game Awards. That's happening next week. So I want to quickly just kind of remind people, you all know what the Game Awards is. It's Jeff Keighley's big show that he does every year. And over the past few years, it's developed this kind of like reputation for having lots of big announcements and stuff. And there's discussion to be had too about the games that they nominate and the games that win awards and all that stuff. So we're going to talk about it next week. We're going to actually do live commentary. So for this conversation tonight, I am joined by Nolan Hedstrom.
How's it going, everybody?
Edward Mitchell.
Edward Bitchell.
Did I say Edward Bitchell? Is that
it definitely sounded like Edward Bitchell.
I will preface this by saying I'm just gonna, I don't know if this is what's happening, but I did get my booster shot yesterday, and I'm starting to slowly crash. So if I slur my words at any point, I'm gonna blame it on that.
He's gonna blame it on the alcohol.
Yes. Well, I'm having coffee right now too, so hopefully those things mix well. I have no idea. But Ed, thank you for being here, and of course, welcome. Christopher Davis is joining us.
I wasn't certain if you were actually going to introduce us or not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm flying by the seat of my pants here, which is the way I just like. I mean, I'm trying to mix things up because every week it's always like, "Welcome to 4Player Podcast. Here's the episode number. Here's the date. I'm joined by these people." I'm trying to mix things up a little bit. We've been doing this for so long. It couldn't hurt to just move some things around, right?
I mean, it's fine, but since we got to do post-production, it helps know what's going on.
We got to do post-production? Oh, I guess you do videos, but, don't worry. I mean, all I really need to worry about is lining up the audio. And once that's done, we're good.
Were we supposed to clap? Clap.
No, Ed. No clapping. Damn it. But yeah, so a couple quick things I want to mention. Like I said, next week is going to be Game Awards, so no podcast next week. December is always weird as far as recording shows because we have the Game Awards, we have our own award show that we normally do, we have a preview show that we do for the coming year. So all that stuff's probably going to be happening as per usual. But next week we're going to just be doing live commentary. So if you're interested in watching the Game Awards and being a part of that conversation, I hope you guys can join us. It's going to be Thursday night. And I think it starts at, can somebody check? I think it starts at 8. I think it starts now, or I mean, our normal time, like 8 p.m. It could be 9. I don't know.
I think so.
I don't fucking know. Don't worry. If you don't know the answer to this, I'll have it in the show notes. It's going to be on their Twitter account, all that stuff.
It's 8 p.m. Eastern.
8 p.m. Eastern. So that'd be 7 p.m. So we'll be live a little bit earlier next week than we normally would. But tonight we're gonna kind of go over some of the categories, not all of them, because there are a lot. And we're going to talk about some of the games that are nominated in multiple categories and stuff. And then we're going to talk about predictions. I asked members of the community to kind of help me put together a list of potential announcements. Because this has kind of become like E3. Like, I mean, what even is E3 anymore? I don't even fucking know. So this is kind of, you know what I mean? This is kind of like the new E3 in a way. So there's usually big announcements. I know it's weird and it's not, but like Skyrim was announced at the Game Awards. The Last of Us was announced at the Game Awards. Like, big stuff happens. I feel like the last couple of years may have been a little low key, but Jeff Keighley seems to be hyping this one up pretty big. He's setting some pretty high expectations, which,
I mean, every year he's hyping up big.
I mean, last year, if I remember correctly, he was kind of like trying to control people's expectations, like actively being like, "Hey guys, I'm excited. We have some cool stuff to show you, but maybe try to keep your expectations in check." I feel like he said that.
Yeah, he definitely did, and I think it was mainly just because COVID was high peaks, and it was like, look, I was hoping more was going to happen, but it's not.
But we did what we
planned
could
this
with what
years
we
ago.
yeah.
So here's what you get.
Everyone delayed all their announcements still this
Yeah.
year or whatever.
So this year, he seems pretty enthusiastic and not nearly as like wet blanket that he kind of was last year. I mean, wet blanket sounds negative, but he was trying to genuinely keep people's expectations in check, which is hard in this industry, obviously. So we're gonna do that. I also want to quickly give a shout out to the Drunken Merchant and Jaeger. If you have not listened to last week's podcast, it was weird too. We recorded 2 separate conversations. We talked to Jaeger about the Elden Ring network tests, and then in the second segment, we talked to the Drunken Merchant about our time playing the Halo Infinite multiplayer beta. So check that out if you haven't. It was fun. Drunken Merchant's in chat. Look at that. Drunken Merchant's always in chat, and he's also responsible for a very large chunk of this list that we're going to talk about tonight. So thank you, Merchant. See, I'm already starting to slur my words. Anyways, all right. So Nolan has the list of the awards in front of him. Oh, sorry.
What's up?
Back
Go
up,
ahead.
back up just a little bit. I want to
Sure.
remind everybody, since it is December and we are getting towards Game of the Year conversation time, there is now a Game of the Year 2021 channel in Discord. If you want to go in there and talk to people about games you may have missed, games that you really love that you're not seeing get a lot of attention, if you want to just share your top 10, we love reading those things. Check them out.
If you also want to just badger the staff about getting, responding to the Game of the Year emails that I send out, that'd be great too.
Chris Davis, the other day, I saw your tweet that you snuck out on the 4Player account. And you know what? I immediately checked my email. I haven't received anything. Was I supposed to receive something?
You should have.
Did you send it?
It was
I don't think
sent
I
to
got
you.
anything either.
I didn't send it until are you sure?
Ed, is my mailbox full?
No, I mean I don't think so. Chris Davis was getting a little full, but
I can't
okay.
send any mail from my 4Player network account anymore for some reason. So I send it from my personal Gmail.
It gets marked as spam. Oh, I have Chris's personal Gmail automatically directed trash can. So
wow, wow.
all because of this email that we get every year. I'll go look for it. I just noticed it was one thing I meant to bring up.
You can't see it, but it says Chris at 4playernetwork.com is the one who sent this email. So are you just a bold-faced liar?
No, I did it both times.
Okay.
When did you send this?
Tuesday.
It was Tuesday the 30th.
Wait a second. I know we're doing this live.
7:32 p.m.
Are you saying Ed is the only person here who received the email?
I don't have anything from Chris Davis.
It went to.
This is great podcast material, but anyway.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you for reining that in, Ed. Anyways, the point is, it's Game of the Year time. So if you want to talk to the community, if you want to share some games that you particularly enjoyed this year, or if you want to just get some suggestions for what you can try and squeeze in before the end of December, it's GOTY 2021 channel in Discord. Check it out.
Even
and of course, we'll be doing
against me making these videos at this point. Great.
And we'll do our usual rigmarole as we always do, but check it out. All right, now we're moving into the Game Awards conversation. Nolan, I don't know how you want to approach this. You have the list in front of you. I can't really see it.
So I have the list. I have a list of just all the games that are going to be at this event. And then well, no, sorry. I mean like a list of all the games that are up for like a category.
Oh, okay, cool.
And so I have that just to make it kind of easier, just because it's hard to if I just look at the categories, there's gonna be a lot of repetition. And so to not like try to, I guess,
not to rehash the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, here's Days Gone again. Not Days Gone. Deathloop. I don't know why I said Days Gone.
Because it was subliminal, man. It was subliminal.
No, it might be because I just actually added it to I downloaded it on my PlayStation now that I have a new SSD in there and I have extra space. So I downloaded it.
He's putting it into the space hole on his PlayStation.
Yeah, basically. But anyway, there's apparently like around 78 unique games that are a part of the 30 categories in the Game Awards this year.
Jesus.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's hold on, I just had it up. Yeah, Game of the Year, obviously, Best
now.
Indie, best family game, best sports racing. There's a lot of categories. Best
And remember,
esports coach.
Not all of them will be like shown, go up the stage and accept
Yeah,
the award. They'll just be like shown on the screen and say this is the winner. If last year was any
this is both hilarious and also kind of like I kind of respect it in a weird way, because like Jeff Keighley goes through all this trouble. I mean, say what you will about the award show, whatever. Jeff Keighley goes through a lot of trouble and is obviously very passionate about this show, and for good reason.
There are
like
5
every year,
esports awards.
No. We're not. Yeah, that's true.
Really?
That's true.
But so,
1, 2, 3,
hey,
4,
it may not be
5.
our thing.
Chris
It may not
Davis.
be our thing.
A lot of people play esports games.
Yeah,
a lot.
It's a huge part of the industry.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't you be talking about them at the Game Awards?
You're not going to hear us talk about it, and you're probably going to see us roll our eyes a lot when we're watching the actual event. Whatever. That's not the point. But what I'm trying to say is that like every year he puts together this crazy big show, but he announces all these awards, and then like half of them get handed off in the middle of a commercial break, or in between announcements, and people. But it's at the same time, it's kind of like he knows his audience. He knows what people like. People are excited to see people get awards and see their favorite games recognized, but people are showing up for the fucking announcements, because that's the juice. That's what people are there for. So like the fact that he's making time for those and cramming them full of these announcements, I really respect. So we're gonna get to those in a second, but let's talk about the games that we know are nominated. I don't know how you want to rattle off this list.
Do you want to just like call out some of the big ones? I mean, obviously, Death Loop is a lot of categories for a lot of different things. I mean, I think most of us here played it in a decent amount.
Yeah, largely deserved, I think.
Yeah, what are the ones that are just nominated for Game of the Year, just to knock those out?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, we can do Game of the Year. So Game of the Year is Deathloop, It Takes Two, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and Resident Evil Village.
So
that's a good list, but
it's a good spread. It definitely highlights the best games of this year.
Yeah, I mean,
what do y'all think is gonna win?
I think Metroid is gonna win.
You think which one?
I think
It Takes Two, because here's the thing, like the people who actually, maybe I'm mistaken, but I think there's only like one category where like the winner is determined purely by the viewers. Like there's a panel of people who kind of dictate who actually wins this award. I don't remember how it works exactly. It's kind of like the E3 awards they do every year before the preview week of E3, that kind of thing. But just think of the history of that game and that developer has with the Game Awards. The
problem is if he wins, like everyone's gonna be like, him and Jeff were in on it. They were in on it on fuck the Oscars. And
it's true, but also think about all the people who talked about Game of the Year, like who are in this conversation happening right now, who are always like, "Oh my god, It Takes Two is amazing."
And it definitely is.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good chance of winning Best Family Game.
I think
for sure,
right?
For sure.
But like just compared to
what else is in that category?
Mario Party, Pokemon Snap, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, and WarioWare. So out of that lock, like Pokemon Snap, possibly, I would say maybe Mario Party, possibly, but It Takes Two, like between like kind of the uniqueness of the game compared to the other ones, it's probably more likely. I think that Metroid, as the like return to form of the series, is going to be the one that gets Game of the Year.
You think so? That's interesting, because I was sitting here thinking like, I love Metroid Dread, but like I feel like, and maybe I'm forgetting some of the other games on the list already, but I feel like that's kind of the one that's like the most known quantity, because it's a great Metroid game, but it's a Metroid-ass game.
Pretty sure Resident Evil's a pretty known quantity, Nick.
Yeah, I think Resident Evil Village and It Takes Two are the top contenders there.
I just don't think that there was enough like good stuff talked about with Resident Evil Village, like critically.
Do you guys not think Deathloop is gonna swoop in? Because like think about that game. Like that's the game that like everybody jokes. Like it's been at like a million award shows. It's been and it may be one of the most talked about games of the year, or like or most buzzworthy games of the year. Even though people kind of doesn't like the ending.
I love that game, but yeah, like you said, it didn't close well enough with me. Like
I don't think Resident Evil Village closed particularly well either.
It didn't stick as much with me as I feel like Dishonored and Dishonored 1, 2.
Yeah,
So that's what I was going to bring up.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a good game, but I think it's one that kind of fizzles. I can't talk about Village because I didn't play it. I never finished Psychonauts 2, and I haven't played Ratchet and Clank. But like Metroid is pretty strong the whole way through, and It Takes Two gets nothing but better every chapter of that game, and it is so unique. It's one of those things where if you think of any of these games, think of Deathloop, think of Resident Evil Village. Once again, I can't really talk about Ratchet and Clank or Psychonauts, the ending at least. The games are pretty consistent the entire way. Maybe you'll get like a new weapon or something like that. It Takes Two, every single area is completely unique, and you have new abilities and new ways to traverse the world and new challenges and new puzzles to solve. It's one of those things where it like I felt like it was something just constantly like learning something new, but in a good way, like enjoyable.
You don't see that much variety these days, and I totally, and I'm sitting here as someone who has not finished it yet. I've only played the first full chapter. And I fully intend to finish it. I fully intend to.
Okay.
It is top of my priority list for December. But like even after that one chapter, I'm like, holy shit, this game is incredible.
Yeah.
But you know what? But the thing that's still thinking about Game of the Year. I feel like at these awards, because I feel like at the award show, it never ends up being the thing that's like that to me feels like the obvious choice. It always seems to be like the safest choice. I feel like maybe I'm misremembering a few years or whatever, but I think Ratchet and Clank has a really good chance of taking that Game of the Year award. It is another one of those like first party Sony games that's like just super well crafted and smooth and feels good and has like almost no bugs to speak of and is just funny and charming and has great weapons, even though it's stuff that's been done 1,000 times. Well, not 1,000, but like it's a pretty safe Ratchet and Clank game. It's just a really good one. Like I think a lot of people gravitate towards that shit. So
okay, so if we're gonna compare like previous years, so last year Last of Us 2 won. The year before that it was I just had it up, Sekiro, and the year before that it was God of War. So if we're all three of those are like
PlayStation games,
pretty big, like big budget games, right? And so, man, like
Ratchet and Clank fills that
kind of though, like right, like
I mean, of those three games that you just named, Sekiro is the only one that's third party. God of War. Oh no, sorry. No, well, Naughty Dog is Naughty Dog first party at this point? They're not owned by Sony, but they only
I don't think technically,
yeah,
it's one of those like Blue Point situations,
like second party. Yeah.
But like all of those seem like, I mean, those were all like super, like smooth experiences.
I just think that Ratchet and Clank doesn't have as much like kind of like hype around it, like or like sales around it, compared to what those three games sold.
I don't have the NPDs in front of me, but I would be willing to bet we would all be shocked if we looked at how well that game sold this year.
Actually, I'm sorry, correction. Naughty Dog is a wholly owned subsidiary of Sony Interactive Entertainment.
Okay, well, there we go.
And that happened recently.
Yeah, I was about to say, when did that happen?
I feel like it may have been a while ago. We just didn't really notice it. They didn't make a huge deal out of it, like when they acquired Blue Point.
2001.
Sony was acquired by Sony Computer Entertainment in 2001.
Wow.
I was going to yell 2001, Chris Davis. Yeah, 2001. So it has been quite a while.
So 2017 was Breath of the Wild. No shock there. But, like, I mean, I don't know. I
will
feel
say
like
this one seems like kind of the most interesting spread for Game of the Year I think we've seen, because like any one of these you could probably make an argument for. I feel like The Last of Us, God of War, and Sekiro all seemed like really obvious choices. Because they were really excellent games. I mean, not a lot of these games are excellent too, but like a lot of these are kind of, I feel like, are kind of on par with each other. I don't know. I would love to see It Takes Two take it, and I'm again saying that as someone who hasn't even finished it yet.
Yeah, I think the two that are really going to get the raw deal are Deathloop and Psychonauts 2. Deathloop because it pitches itself as this open world investigation game, when it turns out to be pretty linear in how you actually do things. And then Psychonauts 2, I think Double Fine is just kind of cursed to like make great games that don't sell quite as well as they should, and not get the recognition they deserve.
Psychonauts 2 feels very much like it's just an honor to be nominated kind of game.
No, and it definitely is. And I think it's one of those things where no matter what, like it's press. Like it's good press for the game, because even if they don't win, all of a sudden they were in the Game of the Year award category. Someone who maybe didn't hear of it, or maybe only briefly heard of it, because once again, the four of us here and everyone listening in chat is not the normal person. We make a very small percentage of gamers out there. There are way more gamers who are just average, just like kind of on the side gamer who don't follow things. But maybe they'll look at the Game Awards. Exactly. And they say, hey, you know what? I did hear about the Psychonauts 2 thing, and it is up for Game of the Year. Maybe I'll check it out now. So no matter what, I think it's beneficial.
And Psychonauts 2 was like heavily promoted back in August when it came out on Xbox Game Pass, right? So it's not like it's this hidden gem or whatever. Microsoft definitely like heavily promoted it.
And I don't. Has anybody else here played it?
Yeah.
No. Oh, you did? Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, you two find some time to play it. It's pretty great. It's pretty great.
I have Psychonauts 1 installed on my computer.
Also a good game.
As my first priority before that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I totally don't blame you. Actually, since we did that for the Revival Club right before Psychonauts 2 came out, like playing those two things back to back was awesome.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of best of narrative that you're talking about, Chris, best narrative is Deathloop, It Takes Two, Life is Strange: True Colors, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, and Psychonauts 2. Those 5.
Wait, sorry, which category was this?
Best narrative.
Sorry, say those one more time.
It's everything from best game except remove Guardian. Metroid Dread and Ratchet and Clank. Oh, and Resident Evil. Sorry.
Yeah. So
I was saying Deathloop, It Takes Two, and Psychonauts 2 are on both categories.
Right, and then add on to that Life is Strange: True Colors and Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy.
So I just played Life is Strange: True Colors.
Yeah, you're pretty high on that, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it a lot. It is a Life is Strange ass game. So if you like Life is Strange, it's great. It has great characters. I was totally invested. I was into it. Chris Davis, you sounded like you were showing some interest in playing that. I don't know if you're going to.
No, I've ordered a copy. It's on the way.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that game. It's one of those things that's so similar to its predecessors that it feels kind of difficult to maybe make a case for it winning an award over something else that's maybe more original. But great game. And you said Guardians of the Galaxy. Totally forgot Chris Davis turned me on to that sale last week. It was on Amazon for $20 and I ordered it.
Oh wow.
And it shipped today, and I was sitting here thinking like, oh, I'm gonna finish Inscription and I'm gonna finish The Forgotten City. And then I think I'm done. And then I was like, fuck, I forgot Guardians of the Galaxy is coming.
I do think
and fucking Halo.
I do think that Life is Strange has a fairly good chance in this category.
Sure. Very much.
Just because like it's a narrative game, so than Deathloop is or
Deathloop there's no way Deathloop can win that category, right? I mean, Deathloop had cool characters, but like the story is kind of where it fell apart.
Yeah.
I feel like
I really doubt it's going to win, but I am honestly pulling for Guardians of the Galaxy. That was probably my biggest surprise this year.
I think a lot of people put into it. I think a lot of people are kind of would agree with you, and that's why I'm not even a huge Guardians of the Galaxy fan.
Me either.
But the fact that everyone's talking about the story, I was like, I have to play this.
It's filled to the brim with so many nice little moments of just characters talking and giving you these small little story bits that just keep adding up and really kind of show like what would happen if you took like a classic Mass Effect story formula and gave it to Eidos Montreal.
Yeah. White Fang says, I was shocked with how pretty good it was. Oh my god, was it? Hey, does anybody know? Are we able to like easily run like a poll in chat of like could we technically throw this category up and see which our chat in this moment would vote for Game of the Year? Somebody mentioned it. Drunken Merchant mentioned it a while ago, and that would be cool.
For sure, we
could.
There's /poll.
Yeah, /poll is what I was about to say. So while we're figuring that out, I wanted to bring up that multiple games are nominated for multiple categories, and quite a few of them. The top two seemed to be Deathloop.
Yep.
Which has 6 nominations.
I feel like that's almost leaning into the meme at this point.
Ratchet and Clank, which has 6 nominations.
Mm-hmm.
It Takes Two, which has 5 nominations.
That's cool, man.
Psychonauts 2 has 5 nominations. So there's a lot of games that have a lot. The next one after that is 3. And that's Forza Horizon 5 has 3 nominations. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy has 4 nominations.
Wow.
Returnal has 3
too.
Yeah, and Artful Escape has 3.
So if anybody remembers, I'm probably gonna forget. I played the Artful Escape because it was on Game Pass this past week.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good. I was gonna bring it up in the second segment. I'll probably forget, but pretty cool little artsy game. You know what game I feel like it's strangely missing from this conversation? I haven't heard it come up once yet. I don't even know if it's nominated for anything. But Monster Hunter Rise was this year.
Monster Hunter Rise has 2 nominations.
Yes.
Do you know what those are for?
Yes, Monster Hunter Rise is nominated for Best Role-Playing Game and Best Multiplayer Game.
Fair enough.
Which I do not think it's going to win, but the latter.
What's it up against?
So Best Multiplayer is Back 4 Blood. It Takes Two.
It Takes Two. Yeah, It Takes Two. That's a couch co-op game.
You're not done yet, Nick. Knockout City, which was pretty popular.
Yeah.
Dodgeball game, yeah.
Monster Hunter Rise, New World. I don't know what that is.
That's the Amazon
MMO.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Valheim is nominated.
Oh,
Valheim
is a pretty big one too.
Is a pretty good chance of winning that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So yeah, like that's what I was saying. Like there's some hard hitters in there besides Back 4 Blood.
I think under role playing, which is Cyberpunk, Monster Hunter Rise, Scarlet Nexus, SMT5, and Tales of Arise, I think Monster Hunter has a better chance.
Oh, for sure. Right? I think so.
I think Monster Hunter, Tales of Arise, and SMT are pretty high up there for winning that. I think Monster Hunter might have the most popularity out of those 3.
Yeah,
I think so.
That multiplayer category is going to be hard to nail down, just because between It Takes Two being such a unique like couch co-op experience, and then Valheim just being kind of the force that it was. Like people were obsessed with that, and still are, as far as I know. And then Knockout City, kind of the same way. Like people were like super high on that at first. I don't know if that's.
It's also this month's PlayStation PS like free game on PS Plus, and so it also probably going to be on people's minds.
And it was free to play, or is free to play as well, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, you're right. They do have a free to play version. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I downloaded it on my Switch for free, and that there's like probably some battle pass thing to pay.
So, just FYI, Gamer Beck, our lovely moderator in chat, put together a straw poll. It's linked in there. If you would like to cast your vote right now while we're recording this for which game you would pick for Game of the Year, go do so. And I'll announce that kind of at the end of this segment. I'll let that run for a bit. You might have to post a link a few times over the course of this conversation as chat scrolls by, but we'll revisit that before this segment is over.
So 2 things I want to point out about all the nominations. Number 1, Call of Duty only has 1 nomination, and specifically for Warzone for the ongoing game. Which I
kind of missed the big conversation about what's the new Vanguard? Wasn't it controversial like for like some like shady like writing shit like
I didn't hear about that. I mean, all the shit at Activision and Blizzard, with Bobby Kotick and stuff, is kind of the big deal. But I didn't know about the game's writing itself.
I thought I heard some controversy about something that seemed divisive. Maybe not divisive isn't the right word. Offensive, maybe. I could be wrong. I don't pay a huge amount of attention to Call of Duty these days. I was kind of interested in playing it, but it's that game came out and then like I didn't hear anything. It was just silence.
A lot of people are playing it.
But what do you think it's going to
be? Chris Davis, you lied. Call of Duty is actually in 2 categories. Also for best esports game.
Oh,
yeah. But
he skipped over that category because he doesn't believe in those categories.
Yeah,
what a piece of shit.
Whatever.
But are we talking about Vanguard or are we talking about Warzone?
Warzone, or Call of Duty Modern Warfare, I believe.
I think Vanguard came out too late to qualify.
Correct. I think it's
okay.
Maybe, yeah.
Well, that would explain it, because you would normally see Call of Duty, like the big single player Call of Duty, pop up in at least one of these categories.
And the other thing I want to point out is that in the RPG category, Cyberpunk 2077 got nominated.
Yep.
Yeah, we brought that up earlier. Yeah.
Oh, we did? Well,
you know, I will say this. I was fully prepared this year. I was like, if they re-release like a next gen version of Cyberpunk and it is fixed and I play it, I would happily put it on my top 10 for this year. But that still hasn't happened.
yeah, that
They've released some pretty big
patches
patches
next year.
Yeah, I mean,
but the next gen patch itself is not out yet.
They have bug fixes and stuff like that, but there's a lot that had to go in to fix that game.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to kind of wait until they drop like the official like PS5 version, and it feels kind of like, okay, this is it. This is the version.
If I'm gonna go back to that game, it's gonna be like some big expansion that drops, not just the next gen version.
Yeah, and the first expansion they're talking about that will probably launch next year, late next year probably, is a kind of internal expansion, just expanding on the storyline and events therein, not so much like physical play spaces to explore.
Right.
But
I mean, that's fine. I don't need them to build me a whole new map. I need them to make the map that exists more interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
all I know is for me, Cyberpunk, when it released last year, it wasn't complete, and that is absolutely a game I know in my heart of hearts I will play, and when it works, I'll enjoy it. I don't know if I'll enjoy it as much as The Witcher, but I'll enjoy it, and there are things I'm gonna love about it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna wait
a couple of call-outs.
But I just wanted to throw in real quick, like I stand by adding Cyberpunk to my top 10 list last year. That if you can power through the bugs and the issues, there is a good quality narrative there to explore.
And it's just most people were not willing to push through, like
exactly.
you said. But whatever, it's your list. You can put whatever you want on it. I'm just personally waiting until it is a more polished. The Witcher has its own fair share of bugs, but it set a certain standard. It hasn't even met that standard yet. So I mean, maybe it does now, but you know what I mean. All right, sorry. Go ahead, Nolan.
I was just saying that the games had to have been released before November 19th, which means Call of Duty Vanguard does technically count.
Okay.
So I don't know why it's not on there, but my question is, since it's before November 19th, why is the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy Definitive Edition not on there?
Oh shit!
So I've been out of the loop, but I just recently heard about like all the shit. Apparently, like that game getting blasted on like Metacritic and stuff.
Well, I mean, it's a hot mess.
Oh,
They're patching it. It is very much like a Cyberpunk situation where like the game as it released was broken AF. So it's another one of the like I want to revisit those games, but I'm not going to do it until they've patched it enough that it feels at least as good as it was when it first launched, like when they first came out.
The user score on Metacritic is a 0.9. It's not even a 1.0. It's a 0.9.
Did you hear about the bug, the pancaking bug with cars?
No.
This is insane.
Yes.
So when you're driving along in San Andreas in a car, if you wiggle your car back and forth, eventually, slowly, your car gets wider and more unruly. So eventually, you're in the lane. You can get it to where it blocks the entire fucking road.
Yeah, it's super funny.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
No, there was a lot of weird shit like that. But it sounds like they're addressing it. But yeah, people were not happy with that, and I don't blame them.
So I do want to call out the category of best indie. I feel like that's a good thing maybe to finish up on. So 12 minutes, Death's Door, Inscription, Kena, Bridge of Spirits, and Loop Hero are the 5 for indie. There's also a separate category called Best Debut Indie. So these are from new studios, and that includes The Artful Escape, The Forgotten City, Sable, Valheim, and Kena, Bridge of Spirits. So pretty good year for indie games, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm playing Inscription right now, and I'm like 12 hours in. I have done the thing that changes the game, so people who have played that know what I'm talking about.
Sorry, which game, Nick?
Inscription.
Ooh, okay.
I'm also playing The Forgotten City, which I'm going to talk about in the second segment, so I'll kind of save that. Still a really cool game. That's based on a Skyrim mod. I guess this is if they've turned it into its own unique
it
thing.
was in
which is
development
great.
for like 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Because I've been like really like every year around this time, I'm like constantly kind of looking for that like cozy, just kind of lose yourself in it game. Not necessarily a new game, but just something that I kind of lose myself in. And I've been thinking about Skyrim a lot. I've been listening to the Skyrim soundtrack at work, and I'm just like, man, I think I want to play Skyrim again. And then I started playing the Forgotten City, and I was like, I completely forgot. This started as a Skyrim thing.
This
is
is
why I
Skyrim.
gravitated towards this? Yeah, no, like there's definitely things where you're playing that game and you're like, oh, I recognize this kind of.
Yeah.
But so you mentioned Inscription, The Forgotten City, Loop Hero, Kena Bridge of Spirits.
Mhm.
As far as budget goes, has everybody beat.
Yeah.
That game absolutely feels like a fucking AAA game. It's one of those things you're playing and you're like, I can't believe this is a fucking indie game. Also shockingly difficult if you allow yourself to play on hard mode. And what was the other
shocking
one?
that hard mode is hard?
Yeah, but you go from like normal to hard in Kena Bridge of Spirits, and it's like going from playing like, I don't know, like Jak and Daxter, the precursor Legacy, to suddenly you're playing like a Souls game. like you're getting crushed by enemies, you're having to time your dodges perfectly, you're having to like multitask so much more because you take so much more damage, you do so much less damage. Like it's wild. What was the last indie game?
Loop Hero.
No, besides Loop Hero.
Yeah. Death's Door in 12 minutes.
Death's Door in 12 minutes. How do we all feel about 12 minutes here? I mean, I know.
I think you know how I feel.
Yeah, Nolan was pretty clear on that podcast.
Yeah.
I haven't played it.
I know I played it and just couldn't get over like how constrained that game felt, like in terms of like never leaving that room was like too claustrophobic for me. I couldn't do it. But
that's not what did it for me, Nick.
Oh no, I read the spoilers. I know what did it for you, and damn.
Yeah.
But Death's Door, charming as hell and really well made. I kind of hope that pulls ahead. Because it's such a charming little Zelda clone. I mean, labeling it as a Zelda clone, but like, man, it feels like a love letter to Zelda, and it's pretty cool.
Interesting. What's the word I'm looking for? Absence of in either of those lists. Eastward.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I just started that
that's not on there.
Dude, that is a game that I'm trying so hard to like. I've been playing it, and I've managed to play it for like 5 hours over the course of like 2 months, and it's so charming and it's so beautiful and it's got an amazing soundtrack. But half the time, it's just boring, and I hate saying that, but it's just I can't. It's just not grabbing me, and I want it to.
I think for me, it reminds me of like the Zelda Oracle of Seasons, Oracle of Ages, like that era of Zelda, like the text, the scroll, the kind of gibberish as they talk, like all that kind of stuff, like brings me back to that, and so that's enough to kind of keep me pushing through the game right now.
I mean, I was thinking the story was gonna hook me by now, but it's taking. I feel like I've played it for 5 hours, and I still don't feel like it's like the story that they want to tell has really started.
Right.
Because it's kind of this like Last of Us thing, right? Where this like older guy is taking this young girl and going across like on a trip across the country, and heading eastward, and I just don't feel like I've even started that journey officially yet, and I'm like not even sure what the point of it is, really. So I don't know. Maybe I feel like if I push through that point, it would eventually get to a thing where it's like, okay, I get it. This is magical. But it takes so long. It takes so long to get to that point.
Yeah.
All right. So
that's all the big categories I think we've hit.
Yeah, I think we covered most of the bigger games. Obviously, we didn't hit everything because there's so much, but I think that's a pretty good list. They do have a category that I didn't see on their website, but I saw on Wikipedia because I was trying to get an actual like list, not like clicking through stuff on their website. Of most anticipated game.
Yeah, it's down at the bottom of their list, but yeah, we should.
Oh, okay, I
think that's it. I think that's a good one to close up on.
That's a good segue into the predictions part. I would say.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, you're right, Ed. I am blind. Thank you.
So it's Elden Ring, obviously, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, the sequel to The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, That's a mouthful. And Starfield are the 5 games. And of all those, I'm hyped for every single one.
I am super hyped for every single one.
Yeah,
Great.
for sure.
I do, especially after the conversation we had last week with Jaeger. Check it out. Elden Ring, man, is still a hard one to beat. I cannot wait. You know what I feel like is missing
Nick,
from that
what are
list
you excited for most about Elden Ring? I'm sorry, wait, did you say Elden Ring or did you say... Which one did you say? I'm sorry. I might be
Elden Ring.
Okay, cool. For some reason, I heard Elden Ring, but my brain processed Starfield. And that's why I was like, okay, sorry. Yeah, Elden Ring. Sure. Very, very much excited for that.
Dude, don't get me wrong. I'm excited for Starfield, but considering how little we know about it, it's kind of weird. I feel like it'd be weird to kind of say that's the one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like that's like saying we're excited for Cyberpunk 2077, but knowing what we know now. It's like one of those things where it's like, slow down, killer.
Yeah,
maybe
wait.
Yeah.
I will say this. I don't know. I retweeted this because Bethesda put out a video talking about Starfield, and it's one of those situations where they don't have any like gameplay to show. They have a lot of like kind of scenery and like atmospheric stuff to show off.
They're spending the entire next year marketing it.
Yeah. No, I get it. But like they released a video which is like Todd Howard talking to 2 other developers about the game and kind of their vision for it and why. And they were playing this like epic kind of like atmospheric music in the background. And I watched it and I was like, and it's Todd Howard doing his Todd Howard thing. He's like using language just like, it's like, you silly bitch. This is not real.
Hold on.
This is not real. And then I got to the end and I was like, God damn it! I kind of want to play Starfield.
I want to bring up White Fang and Drunken Merchant's comments in chat. Elden Ring won last year's most anticipated game award.
It should be disqualified.
Yeah, you can't be 2 years in a row nominated. But that being said, God of War and Horizon Forbidden West and Breath of the Wild 2, Breath of the Wild sequel were also on that list for most anticipated game, and none of those came out. Yeah.
But the thing about this year is I'm pretty sure all of those games, with the exception of maybe, I'm still a little fuzzy on, well, Breath of the Wild too. I don't think I'll be shocked if it comes out next year. And I also think God of War Ragnarok feels maybe like it's too soon. Like I don't know, but we know Horizon's coming. We know Elden Ring will be out. Starfield, they seem pretty committed to their November date. They announced last year, which doesn't necessarily mean anything, but they'll probably just release it in a broken state if it's not ready, because it's not from Bethesda. You know what's missing from that list though? Fucking Dying Light 2, man. Dying Light 2. That game went gold the other day.
Is that a game?
Is that a game?
It went gold. It's a video game. I mean,
allegedly.
Doesn't mean anything. Cyberpunk went gold at some point. That was hard to justify as calling it a video game when it first arrived.
If there had to be only 5 games, on this list though, yeah.
I know. I'm probably in the minority. I'm just saying. Okay, let's transition a bit. I do want to. We've talked a lot about the awards. I want to make some predictions. Like I said, we have a pretty large list of games that are not confirmed. We have a lot of games on this list that are confirmed to exist. We just don't know if we're going to see them this year, and I don't have them in any particular order. But a lot of these came from the Drunken Merchant, Brad, Piost, Question Mark, Prince of the Universe, SMG, and a Cheese Kid were kind of the names that I'm seeing just looking at it here. So if I miss anybody, I do apologize, but I thank everybody in the community for helping me put this list together. So I guess I'm just going to kind of roll down this list, and let's talk about it real briefly and say whether we think it's real or not, or whether this is bullshit. And not for any particular reason, but I'm starting with this one. There's a lot of talk about a new NetherRealm game, the guys that made Mortal Kombat. Right, and hasn't there been a lot of talk about them doing maybe a Marvel versus DC fighting game? Because they did Mortal Kombat versus DC, and I think a lot of the rumors that have been circulating have been about them finally getting the license to do DC versus Marvel, which, I'm not a huge fighting game person, but I feel like that's the kind of thing that's been in a lot of people's, wish list for fighting games for a long time.
If Warner Brothers Interactive was in a much better position than it is right now, then yes, I would say there's a better chance of that happening.
I think
I don't think that's what they're working on.
It's probably another fucking Mortal Kombat game, but think about it.
There's
if that was
real,
but here's, I also feel like that's the kind of thing that's the kind of announcement that would fit really well at a game show or at the Game Awards. I could see it. and it's been a while since their last game, so who knows? I think that's possible, but maybe not likely. The Wolf Among Us 2 feels weird even saying that because it's a Telltale game, or now I guess now it's Skybound, right? Is the name of the team that would be developing it fully. But this also feels like something that has kind of a history with the Game Awards, because I think the first one was announced at the Game Awards, and Telltale games often were shown off at the Game Awards. So, and I think this was announced. The actual sequel was announced at the Game Awards last year. So,
and I think
maybe it's time.
It won, or maybe just got nominated for best narrative or something like that the year it came out.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Yeah, I feel like outside of The Walking Dead, The Wolf Among Us 1 was maybe one of the most well received Telltale games.
Or yeah, maybe, definitely. I mean, other than Tales from the Borderlands.
Tales from the Borderlands.
Yeah.
Maybe be in third place. I don't know. But I think this is possible. I think this is certainly possible. Wouldn't really surprise me. Hellblade 2, which we still haven't seen anything of. This is now Ninja Theory is now owned by Microsoft. So this is a first-party Microsoft game for the Xbox and PC. We've seen a few teaser trailers for it. I think the time is right to show it. I don't know. Like, they seem like they're pumping more money into it this time, and they're building it up to be something, because I feel like that first game felt kind of small in scope, and maybe, you know, it was like it was really well done, but super focused. I feel like they're trying to like really pump up the budget this time, and I would like, is this going to be like a fucking?
I mean,
like
it was a self-funded indie project for them, that first Hellblade game. So now that they have a dedicated publisher,
money.
Yeah.
Not only is it a dedicated publisher, it is Microsoft. So, you know, there haven't really been rumblings about it. Like, I haven't seen a lot of talk about it on social media, but maybe I missed something. But I certainly think I think that could happen. Next we have A Plague Tale Requiem. We know this exists. It was announced, I think, at E3 this year. I don't see this being a high priority for the Game Awards, to be honest. But it's also the kind of game that's like, you know, big but not like AAA, that oftentimes finds itself being shown at, I don't know. It doesn't seem super high priority, and it was just announced. And that first game isn't even that old yet, so I don't know. All right, here we go. Here's the big one. I feel like we do this every year, and we're disappointed every year. Dragon's Dogma 2. Anyone want to make a hot dog bet?
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, no. I don't think it's happening. I want it to. Don't get me wrong. I definitely want it to.
I mean, don't forget this game was part of the big Capcom leak, and a few of those things have already come to pass. So I feel like this game exists. It's just, is this it? Is this the moment we're finally going to see it announced? I don't know.
I think it's more likely to be at E3 than this.
Yeah, I think that's like the prime showing for Capcom at an event like E3.
But Capcom doesn't really do much in terms of like big showings at E3, as far as like they try to do their own like press conference, quote unquote, this year.
Yeah, but
it's a disaster.
It would be part of like a
Microsoft's.
Sony or a Microsoft reveal, right?
Yeah, I don't know. We can dream, but yeah, I don't think it's very likely. Brad threw out the idea of a new Supergiant project, post their first project since Hades, but I feel like it's too soon for that.
Yeah, I think it's
probably.
I mean, they probably had something lined up even before they finished off Hades, I would imagine.
Right.
But I mean, at the same time, it could be like they're capitalizing off the success of Hades, and now if they announce something now with people still kind of having that fresh on their mind, it would be big.
Yeah, the question is, will they make a even bigger scope game than Hades? Like, what's the next Supergiant game going to be like? You know, or will they keep themselves small and in their niche?
I mean, I will say this. I mean, that's a really good question, but I do think they will keep the development model that they used with Hades, and whatever if they were to announce something at the Game Awards this year, it would be for early access, and it would be like, because that's how Hades was, I think, first announced. I think that was Game Awards, and it was like, hey, it's an early access. And at the time, all of us were like, this is this is disappointing. It looked kind of like I don't know. We didn't know what to think of it then, and then it went on to become a lot of our favorite games of the year when it was finally 1.0. So who knows?
Can I throw out a few?
Sure.
Okay.
Are you going off the list, or are you just throwing random shit out?
I'm throwing random shit out. This is my stuff.
Chris Davis, you have to submit it to the list before the podcast starts, and then we'll read your.
I ain't got time for that.
Approved.
I had to bake a cake today. I didn't have time for that.
We can't be distracted by your cake story.
Knowledge, Chris Davis, it's a piece of cake to bake a pretty cake, so I don't know what you're doing.
Nice. All right. Anyway, Chris, please.
The first one, I think I would bet Microsoft has something to show, and I bet you it would be Gears 6. That's not something necessarily exciting, but given how long Gears 5 was marketed and how many events and whatever, it seems like now is about the right time to formally announce that game.
Man, that seems
okay.
Okay, yeah, continue.
I mean, it would make sense, but it's not something I'd be particularly.
It's not exciting, but
I feel like that's an E3 announcement more than Game Awards. But continue.
Maybe. Then there was whatever the heck Monolith Productions is working on, because they have been silent since 2017.
That's on our list.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's talk about whether they would return to Condemned or Fear, or another Middle Earth game possibly, or
here's the thing:
like
we know for sure they're going to be showing off that Gollum game for the first time. This is not Monolith Productions, but I don't think they would feature the Gollum game side by side with a Monolith Productions Lord of the Rings game.
It's a Gollum game.
There's a game called Gollum. It stars Gollum. We're going to see gameplay of it for the first time. That is confirmed. That is going to be at the show next week. That's one of the things. So we don't even have to guess. We take the guesswork out. That's happening. But yeah, like if Monolith Productions has something to show, the only way it would be here, I'm pretty sure, is if it wasn't Lord of the Middle Earth, a sequel to Middle Earth. Not to mention, I'm pretty sure that last Middle Earth game did not do particularly well for them. So
it was marketed. It was that game that had really scummy monetization going on, and people largely just fucking bailed on it because of that.
Drunken Merchant is calling me out for not pinning his prediction of a new Goemon game, so I'm going to go ahead and just say it now.
Oh, God.
There,
we all have wants and dreams.
Merchant. All right. What do you think? Pioche said, what about that new A Quiet Place game? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Didn't they just recently announce that, though?
They announced that it exists, that they're making a game based on A Quiet Place. And I'm thinking, the more I think about that, I don't know much about the developer who's making it. I don't remember who it is, to be honest. But that like franchise, that idea has, I feel like, a lot of potential as a video game. That could be really cool, especially if you're going to pump some money into it and make it like, maybe kind of a big budget thing.
So it's evidently due next year, and it's from Saber Interactive is publishing it, and it's from Illogica. Never heard of them.
Yeah, it's new. So I that thought in particular doesn't give me a lot of faith, but I hope it's I don't know. I feel like that's the kind of thing that would be weird enough to see at the Game Awards. You know what I mean? And we had the sequel to A Quiet Place is not. It came out this year. I mean, it's not fresh, obviously, but like came out this year and was really well received. It would be a good time to kind of maybe show that off if you want to like get some people talking about it. If you wait too long, people are just going to forget about A Quiet Place, or you're going to have to wait until the next movie comes out to really start getting people excited for it. Question mark was like, what if they make a Bloodborne director's cut? Not really sure. Probably not. The next time we see Bloodborne, it's going to be a sequel, almost guaranteed.
Yeah, the only thing I could see is maybe like a 60 FPS patch.
Yeah, I think that's what he's. Oh, yeah, like a patch. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't think they're going to release this
I guess it would be like maybe a PS5 upgrade kind of thing, similar to Ghost of Tsushima.
If you pop in your PS4 disc for Bloodborne, it'll give you a free upgrade kind of thing,
right?
Which is possible. That's also the kind of like small announcement that they squeeze into things in between awards and whatnot that could potentially happen.
Yeah.
Metroid Prime 4. No.
I think if we're gonna get anything from Metroid Prime, it's going to be the trilogy, like a trilogy on the Switch right?
Or
it's so funny. It's so funny. We're all bracing ourselves. We're like, they won't announce 4 until they officially announce the trilogy.
Yeah,
so
well,
every time we don't get the trilogy announcement, it's like, fuck, we just have.
So here's
still
the
waiting.
thing about that, though, is that the rumor going around now is that if there is a product in development, it's not the trilogy, it is a full-on remaster of the original Metroid Prime. And supposedly that would launch not necessarily day and date, but very close to the launch of Metroid Prime 4.
Are you guesstimating here, or are you talking about some news report that I don't remember?
It was a news report. It came out recently.
If that's the case, it's incredibly disappointing. I don't think we're going to see either of those things at the Game Awards. So let's just go ahead and tuck that away. Although if it happens, man, your dreams, or it'll be a huge surprise. Resident Evil Village DLC, I think they've already talked about they're doing it. We just haven't seen it yet. Yeah. So that feels like kind of a pretty safe bet. We might see something like that. But again, pretty small announcement. They'll squeeze in between other things.
Yeah, that didn't start development until I think May or June. So...
Yeah, they kind of announced its existence back at E3, but it was very much like it was like a text screen. It was like, we're working on it.
We ain't got shit.
Happening. Yeah. All right. This was technically 2 things on the list, but I combined them into one because let's be real. Hideo Kojima's next project / Abandoned, right?
No.
If we get through another Game Awards show and we still have no fucking clue what Abandoned is vaporware. It is not real, it is not happening, and it is definitely not connected to Kojima. But like, if there is going to be a big Kojima reveal, especially as it pertains to maybe Abandoned, the Game Awards is where it would happen.
Well, it would, because if we were going to show off a Kojima project, it's probably going to be the one that Microsoft has been quietly trying to negotiate for a long time.
But they just talked about that like recently. Like that exists as like a signature on a piece of paper somewhere. I feel like at this point.
Well, they signed an MOU basically. So,
all right. Here's the real question. Memes aside, do we think we're going to find out what the fuck Abandoned actually is?
Nope.
No. We're just.
I don't.
We're just pretty negative on that, huh?
It's not
you know what?
Silent Hill. It's not.
Okay, it's not. But this is not on the list. But we know pretty much from like multiple sources that at least 2 Silent Hill games are in development. Do we think we'll see that?
No.
Yeah, you're right. No way in hell. Anyways, moving right along.
So going back, hold on. Chill, Nick. Simmer. Do any of y'all follow this guy on Twitter named Hideo Kojima?
I do, yes.
I don't know if you saw his tweets the other day. I know, Nick, I know you like Midnight Mass.
I love Midnight Mass.
So you know Rahul Kohli?
Yeah.
So Hideo often tweets stuff about him because I think Hideo's a big fan of Midnight Mass. And there was this Twitter thing going on the other day where I don't remember all the details, but Rahul was tweeting with someone else about like being in a show or something like that. And the guy responded, like, post a picture of your bum. And so Rahul tweets a picture of him in like boxers with his ass sticking out. And Kojima responds with a gif of Snake in like the torture scene from Metal Gear Solid 1. And so then everyone else is just going down this thing of like Kojima being so thirsty. It's pretty funny. I would look at it.
They have a little Twitter romance going on, and I'm wondering if Jeff's a little jealous.
Oh, probably.
I say that in as lightheartedly.
He's my fuck buddy.
I'll find it on Twitter real quick.
It's a funny exchange they have going on. But Kojima has this relationship with Jeff Keighley. Like they announce projects together all the time. So Death Stranding is a couple of years old at this point, so maybe we will see the first like super minimal teaser for whatever the hell he's working on next. Which apparently there's like Chris Davis said, there's multiple projects, but the one I think we're most likely to see first apparently is a horror game. Not Silent Hill, not necessarily saying it's Silent Hill, but apparently it's a horror game. So if we were to see something here from Kojima, it would be a teaser for that horror game, I think. What if that horror game is abandoned?
No.
Come on, people. It all makes sense. All
You're
right.
allowed to dream, Nick.
I know. Fuck. I don't even know why I let myself get excited for these things. I'm gonna be so disappointed next week. All right. Dying Light 2, that's gone gold. No point in I mean, it might show up for whatever. But TMNT, Shredder's Revenge. Y'all remember this game?
Yeah, that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, no, it looks awesome. Super nostalgic. That seems to me very much like a if not getting its own like quick like trailer, it would be like in a montage of like cool indie stuff that we often see.
Yeah,
but,
we'll get a release date because we've already seen plenty of gameplay at this point. We already know a lot of the unlockables as you can get in the game. It's time for us to win.
I think that's going to be an early 2022 game. Stray, that cat game.
Oh yeah.
I don't think we're going to see it here. I mean, I think it's coming. I just don't think it's going to show up here. It doesn't seem super high priority. This is like scattershot, like all over the place. Breath of the Wild 2. What do we think?
Maybe trailer.
Maybe a trailer? That's fair. So here's a question I have. Reggie is confirmed to be there, but Reggie doesn't work for Nintendo anymore. But like, if Reggie's going to be part of it announcing something,
no, he's just there as an industry person.
Yeah,
he doesn't work for that company anymore.
I know, but like, my question is, if he's invited to like, hey, come up here and be a presenter. I mean, maybe he's just going to present like an award, or something.
He's an industry professional.
Yeah,
he wants his $50,000 check.
I'm like, would it be completely out of the question to like, even though he doesn't work for Nintendo anymore, have him involved in like presenting the trailer for Breath of the Wild? I mean, I don't know. Would that be weird at this point?
I think if he's going to be doing something, it's going to be giving an award to one of the Switch games.
Yeah,
that one.
Yeah,
right.
Fair enough. It's always nice to see Reggie. Blue Point.
This could be Bloodborne.
Blue Point.
Yeah, Blue Point could do Bloodborne because they did the Demon Souls remake for PS5, right?
Are we talking about doing a remake of Bloodborne?
Well, not necessarily, but maybe. I don't know. A remake of Bloodborne seems like too much for because with Elden Ring, right?
Yeah.
So
a remaster is more realistic, and I don't think we will see anything from Blue Point at this point this year because they just fucking released Demon Souls last year.
And they did announce that they're working on their own original product, and that's way too early in development, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure because Brad would be remiss if I didn't at least say this. Somebody suggested that Blue Point could be given Bloodborne 2 as like the lead developer on that, and like Brad kind of was like, no, that doesn't make any sense at all, and here's why. Here's like an essay. If you want to talk to him about that, hit him up in Discord. He had very, very good points. I'm not gonna like lay him out here, but like I don't think Blue Point makes sense as a developer of like of being handed the reins on a series, especially one as beloved as Bloodborne, unless it's a remake or a remaster. And I don't think we're gonna see that. I think if anything, it would be that next project they're working on that's original, but still too early. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark this as like probably not gonna happen.
I can also picture a scenario in which Blue Point, it has that focus on that project they're building, but they're also having teams farmed out to support other games that are in development. Sony is
they're great at asset development.
I'm sorry?
They're great at asset development.
Yeah, at asset development. But I'm thinking like how Sony came out and they're building a PC brand for themselves with ports. I can picture like have that studio dedicated to like helping make ports happen alongside Nixxes.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. I just don't see a lot of that playing into the Game Awards, but maybe I'm wrong. So you already mentioned Monolith Productions. There's the question of Monolith Soft,
Xenoblade,
Xenoblade Chronicles
3 or 4, or however you want to
Xenoblade
count them up
X2,
or whatever.
Maybe.
I mean, I'm skeptical of a Xenoblade game and a Breath of the Wild 2 coming out the same year. It seems like those two things are kind of in the similar sectors.
It could definitely still happen.
I think you might be right. Let's do one or two more, and then we'll take a break and we'll finish the list when we come back. IO Interactive, Project 007.
No.
No, we got a no.
It's too early.
I think it'll happen.
I think it's too early to see any gameplay, but I could absolutely see like an official like here's a teaser trailer of like purely cinematic, purely like maybe 20 seconds long, just to kind of give us like our first look at like their model of like what 007 looks like and kind of what to expect tonally. Like I could see it.
I don't think they would go for that because they just announced year 2 content for Hitman 3, and they previously said they weren't going to develop any new maps and that Hitman 3 was it. They were moving on. And they've announced a content roadmap for year 2, which has new maps and that kind of content that they previously promised.
So they changed their mind.
Oh
so
my God.
007 is probably much further, back than.
Hold on. I have an official statement.
Okay.
How the fuck did no James Bond game come out in 2007? It's literally 007, and the games came out in 2005 and 2008. Who fucked this up? That they didn't release a game in a year that ends in 007.
Apparently their priorities are all out of whack. By the way, what was the game that came out in 2008? Was it like Nightfire or something? No.
Quantum of Solace.
Quantum of Solace. Nightfire was like 2003. That was some GameCube shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I played that game. It's aight. It was no Nightfire, that's for sure. All right, one more, and then we're gonna take a quick break. Ghostwire Tokyo.
I think so.
Yeah, we'll probably get a trailer.
Yeah,
I think it's about if we're gonna show this, goddamn it, stop tickling our balls. Show us like a solid like 5 minutes of gameplay of that game. I want to know what the fuck it is. I want to know if it's for me or not. Because I'm gonna be honest, I can't tell at this point.
Yeah.
I love Tango.
But Nick, you like spooky games.
I'm even wearing a Ghostwire Tokyo t-shirt right now, and I don't even know if this game is for me. Because I bought this purely based off of the trailer they showed at E3 however many years ago, and I thought it looked amazing. And now that we've actually seen little snippets of like what it is, I'm not so sure it's my thing. I just want to know. So I'm just gonna put that out there into the world. If we're going to see that, it better be some significant gameplay, maybe even with a release date. But that's not even the kind of... They don't even do that kind of thing at Game Awards very much. It's not very gameplay footage oriented. It's very much like cinematic trailers. So, but you know what? They're doing a gameplay thing for Gollum, I think. I don't know. I don't know what to think anymore. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to finish off this list, and we're going to do some quick impressions of some of the games we've been playing, and then we're going to wrap up with the 4-player minute. So if you're watching us live, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hello and welcome to Brad's weekly update. I have some candy this week. I've been looking for new snacks to try, and I guess since Halloween's over, everything is Christmassy, so it'll probably be a lot of like cool Christmas treats. But let me show you what I got. I've actually accumulated quite a bit, but I'm gonna open the larger bag stuff because people have been wanting to, in my household, have been wanting to try this stuff. So this week we got some Reese's Peanut Brittle. Reese's Peanut Brittle. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups Peanut Brittle, which would be interesting. I guess they'll be kind of crunchy. We have some, I don't even think these are seasonal, but I've never seen these before. Andes Mints, but Toffee Crunch Thins. And what else? We have some gingerbread cookie Kit Kat, which look pretty cool. You see that? I'm experimenting with a new recording method. It's still not how I want it, but I'm waiting on a couple of cables. Hopefully soon we'll be able to get some better video quality. It's tough, but we're going to try those in a second. first things first, let me tell you what I've been playing. I like to do this part first because if I screw up earlier in the video, I don't want to have already torn open everything. So I save that for the end, if that makes any sense. As far as what I've been playing, I'm kind of in like some weird period where I don't know. I'm still starting new games. I started a new game called Unsighted, which is a sort of a top-down Zelda-like Metroid-style game. Kind of like a Zelda game, honestly. But you have... The whole world works on a time limit where everyone's going to fucking die, and you got to hurry, and you can like spend a currency to save people, but you have to make tough choices. Do you want to save this person who's like your friend, or this person who's like the shopkeeper? Because if the shopkeeper dies, then all of a sudden you don't have a shopkeeper. It's very, like Majora's Mask sort of thing where, the world's ending and it's all. Here's the thing, I don't do well with those types of games, like at all. I don't like time limits. Majora's Mask is like the only Zelda game I can't get through. I can't deal with it. And there's an option to turn off the time limit, but like the whole story kind of hinges upon that, and it's like the one unique thing about that game. I don't know. People are saying it's still really good even if you turn the timer off, but I feel like it kills the uniqueness, and maybe the story motivations don't even make sense. So I don't know what I should do. I can turn it back on anytime I want, but I feel like if people aren't dropping dead, then what's the point of the game? It's called Unsighted. It looks nice. It plays really cool. It's got like a really satisfying parry mechanic. I got a huge axe and it's tough, but I don't know. I can't decide what I want to do. It's not so much the people dying that bothers me. That's kind of like interesting. I like to take my time and go real slow and try to 100% and find every little secret. I play games slowly. Like I finished a couple of games recently. I finished Ender Lilies. I got 100%, and I pretty much did everything in Chicory. And I feel like those games are really at their best when you try to do everything, because the exploration's really rewarding and the secrets are really rewarding. And if you're not pushing yourself to find that stuff, then the level design isn't even like interesting. Like all the intricacies are in the optional and hidden shit. So I don't know. I always play games like this to 100%. I can't 100% a game on a timer. I don't know. I don't know what to do. But I'm still trying to wrap up stuff. I'm still working through Tales of Arise, and I want to finish that so I can finally get through Lost Judgment. And I don't know. Tales of Arise is kind of disappointing me in a lot of weird ways. But I guess we'll talk about that when we get to end-of-year conversations, because I don't have time in this video. We need to start opening shit. Let's start with this one. Andy's Toffee Crunch Thins. I swear I think I've had these before. And I don't think they're like a seasonal thing. I don't know. How do we feel about candy wrappers in the mic? Let's try this. I love toffee crunch stuff, but usually it's so hard and bad for your teeth. Like I can't eat a Heath bar anymore. Too much botched dental work over the years that I risk fucking up. This is nice. Very light crunch. Light toffee. Gingerbread Kit Kats. Kind of neat. Like a good ginger. I don't really like gingerbread cookies, I guess. I like a good ginger molasses cookie. It's like one of my faves during the holidays. Alright, let's try this. Smells, I don't know about gingery, but there we go. Yeah. Tasting the gingerbread. Not bad. I like that. Reese's Peanut Brittle. This one's interesting. I've seen a lot of peanut butter cup variants, but they're always just like a little different. This seems pretty out there, because peanut brittle is pretty hard and crunchy, which is a pretty big texture difference for our peanut butter cup. These peanut butter cups are like white. Where's my camera? What am I holding this up to? I do have autofocus on this camera. I guess the problem is I'm recording this after dark and sunlight isn't really helping the shot, but this camera should be better than my last one. Check out that autofocus. Wait. Oh yeah. This would be good for showing off things. This, honestly, it's got a peanut brittle flavor, but I think the crunchy stuff in the peanut butter cup is just peanuts. So it's just like one of those crunchy peanut butter cups, but I guess the outside is that toffee kind of peanut brittle flavor, which I like. This is not bad. I kind of like these. Anyways, what are we at? 8 minutes almost? That's it, I guess, for this video. Sorry I didn't do one last week. Thanksgiving and things were just kind of crazy around the house. But also, I don't know. I'll work on this video quality, and the more I improve this, the more excited I will be to record this video. I'll try to play something a little more interesting. That Unsighted game, it is on Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass, try it out. Kind of a cool vibe. Kind of a unique idea. Just don't wuss out like me. And that's it. Y'all have a good week, and I'll be back next week with more treats. I got a ton of stuff here. I could show you some of this stuff if you want to see it. Look at this. Look at this. Some weird stuff. I got some Elf cereal. Elf cereal. Look at this. Sour Patch Coal. Sour Patch Coal for your stocking. I got some Crunch Berries popcorn, whatever the fuck that is. I don't know. Anyways, maybe I'll try those next week. Anyways, y'all have a good week, and goodbye.
All right, welcome back, guys. We have a few more games to go through on this predictions list. We're going to move it a little bit quicker because we do have some impressions to get to. So the next one on this list is Resident Evil 4 Remake. We basically know it exists. There's been some leaks lately. I don't know.
I mean, of all the Capcom stuff, I feel like that's the most likely, right?
I mean, people would lose their shit.
I have to ask the question: how could DC Douglas fuck up like that if that's actually real?
Are you talking about the guy who does Albert, the voice actor?
Yeah, the voice actor. For people who don't know, the voice actor for Albert Wesker basically leaked confirming that Albert Wesker is in the remake.
Also, way to ruin a perfect video game by putting Albert Wesker in it. Oh, God. Jesus Christ. Moving on. I don't think this is going to be there, but if it is, hell no. Yes. Redfall, I think it's too early to see. I mean, Deathloop is nominated for like 100 awards or whatever, so like Redfall is still too early. I mean, it's not the same team, but like, I don't think you want to...
Not too early. It's supposed to be out next summer, supposedly, according to the rumors.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm not giving enough credit. Okay. Dragon Age 4. This was announced, like, the rebooted project was first shown at the Game Awards, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so this seems like maybe something that's highly likely to be there, to me.
Yeah,
like if we're gonna see our first peek of Dragon Age, I feel like this would be the place to do it. This would be like this would be like the way they did Skyrim, where they're gonna end the show with, oh yeah, one more thing, boom, Dragon Age 4, and it looks bananas.
I think it's just gonna show like some vista, some views, and then at the end it's just gonna say enchantment, and that's all it's gonna be.
It's gonna fade to a room full of developers typing away on their computers, and then it's gonna say enchantment, because that's how EA likes to show off their games. They like to show people working at computer stations.
No. It's in this time of COVID, it's gonna be just montages of people sitting at their home computers with their webcams on there.
It's gonna be a bunch of Zoom calls with the word enchantment over. Okay, BioShock reboot. This is something we've kind of known about off and on unofficially for a long time, and we pretty much know it's coming. I'm I don't know. I feel like that's the kind of thing where you would see it like an E3, like a E3 Microsoft conference kind of thing.
So there's three things. There's the BioShock remake, which has been rumored. We know BioShock 4 has been in development for a long time. And then we have whatever Ghost Story Games is working on, which would be a spiritual successor.
Yeah, spiritual successor. Although that in and of itself is something that could be there. Maybe not BioShock itself, but the spiritual successor from Ken Levine could be there.
If it's even 10% of what he pitched for his GDC talk years ago, that is incredibly exciting.
It's going to be BioShock. Sorry, it's not going to be BioShock. It's going to be BioShooketh. It's going to be the name of the game.
But the latest rumors for his project, it's a sci-fi title.
I take it. I mean, aren't they? Well, that's getting. We'll see. We'll see on that one. The Chrono Cross remake, which is apparently a thing that's been announced, that's been leaked this week, that everyone seems to be confirming left and right. I don't think we're going to see it here. Although the timing of the leaks is suspicious. Like maybe the leaks are happening because people are preparing to like announce it at the Game Awards. It would be weird. It'd be
one thing I will say about Chrono Cross. Has some really good music in that game.
It does have some really good music in that game.
I don't think Square Enix wants to show that off just yet. Mainly because Endwalker literally launches tomorrow, and they want to get all eyes on that.
Yeah, but like those things are only tangentially related. I don't know. The Callisto Protocol, the Dead Space spiritual successor. I hope we see this. This would be really cool. Like I want to know which project I should be more excited about, the Dead Space remake or this. Because right now we know almost nothing about this other than the minds who the original creative minds behind Dead Space are working on this, and it looks very, very similar in terms of like atmosphere and tone and stuff. So like, I just want to know which one should I care more about. So I hope we see this because it's supposed to be, I think, next year. I think, but I also think it's unlikely. So. There's a few things we've seen fairly recently, like Atomic Heart and Kirby in the Forgotten Land. I think those have both been shown off fairly recently. And Atomic Heart doesn't really feel like the kind of thing that would pop up at the Game Awards. I could be wrong. Final Fantasy 16. It's been a while since we've seen that, and that apparently is like they are so far along in development on that like they can play the game from beginning to end. And they're working on translating and stuff. So like that game is in a semi-finished state and pretty sure is coming next year at this point. So like that would be a cool game to show off, especially if you want to like wipe the memory of Final Fantasy 15.
Would they show a trailer for that Stranger's Paradise game at Game Awards and then save the Final Fantasy 16 for E3?
I hope not.
Well, okay, but hold on. The Stranger's Paradise game has like gotten some better looks since that first trailer came out.
Ed, what's Stranger's Paradise again?
Final Fantasy Origins or whatever. It's like Stranger's Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin.
The supposed Neo clone set in
the Ninja Theory one, right?
The thing that we all expected was going to look way more like Neo than it actually does, and ended up looking kind of.
Yes, at the first airing of it, and it's since gotten better looks.
But at the same time, I'm pretty sure the stuff that made it look real stupid is still in there. Like like the cell phone, like aren't they listening to like Limp Bizkit or something on their cell phone? You know, like no. Final Fantasy 16 is what people are clamoring.
Did you say that Stranger's Paradise they play Limp Bizkit? Is that what you said?
Yeah, there's a scene in the game where like his cell phone rings and it's a Limp Bizkit song. First of all, his cell phone rings in the world of Final Fantasy, and it's am I crazy?
I mean, why would they call you Nick? This isn't the best best example, but they had him in 15 too.
You're right, and that but you know what they're not gonna have? You know what they're not gonna have? What game's not gonna have cell phones? Final Fantasy 16, because that looks like some high fantasy shit, and I'm here for it. I mean, here's the thing. You make a good point. I do think we've seen Strangers of Paradise.
Stranger of Paradise.
Stranger of Paradise, yeah.
Stranger of Paradise. We've seen that. That was at E3. We've seen that fairly recently. And as much as I think it needs to make a better impression for another showing, I think people would be more excited to see something new so soon. But I don't know. Yeah. It could go either way. Let's see what else we got. Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2.
Too early.
I don't think so. I don't even know if it's an issue of being too early. This just feels like an E3 kind of thing. But at the same time, Sony doesn't really participate in E3 anymore, so I don't even know. But yeah, I think
they would do their own thing. Yeah,
especially considering this one is probably going to be more bigger in scope, more open because you're finally out of Midgar, that kind of thing. It's probably going to be in the oven a little while longer.
Yeah, I think like the most we could expect of it would be like a teaser, like 5-second thing, and it would be just like one of those big nostalgia moments, like just to. Do you remember in Final Fantasy VII the scene where you kind of break down in the you go past Calm, you go through the mountains in near the Fort Condor, and you come across the impaled giant snake?
Yep.
I could picture that being like a shock moment to like give you. They could like be saying, "This is the tone we're going for. It's going to be some dark shit."
It'd be one of those things where it's like you don't know what game you're watching. Like you just see a bunch of characters kind of walking through the woods or whatever, and then they're gonna like kind of turn a corner, and you're gonna see the giant snake impale, and then the characters come into focus in the foreground, and it's like, oh shit, that's Cloud. You know,
I could see
that kind of shit. I mean, it's the Game Awards. There's gonna be a lot of shit that's shown that's like 2 years away, and it's gonna have like super short teasers, and that's kind of that's to be expected. So maybe because Sony's not part of E3 anymore, and E3 is just a weird thing in general now. So what the fuck? Forspoken. I think it's that's coming out in March supposedly. That's the other Square Enix game where she's like jumping around. She's like it's like New York City who gets zapped into like a weird fantasy land.
Looks pretty good.
It looks cool. I'm excited to see more of that, and I think we need to see more of it at this point because it's like 3 or 4 months away. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that. Street Fighter 6. I don't know much about Street Fighter, so I can't really comment. But it seems like people are kind of expecting a Street Fighter 6 announcement pretty soon.
Yeah.
Are any of us here qualified to comment on that? I don't know.
Nope.
My understanding is that people were largely expecting Street Fighter 6 to get a formal announcement last year, but because COVID
so it's overdue.
It's well overdue. And they just released the absolute last fighter Street Fighter 5 is going to get. So at this point, there's not going to be any more Street Fighter 5 content, so people are largely expecting, it's time for 6 to get an announcement.
Fair enough. That could happen. All right, here's some big ones that we can address pretty quickly, I think. Perfect Dark, which was announced at the Game Awards last year.
Possibly.
I mean, this is such a weird project, and it's like such high expectations, I think. I mean, I feel like it's a little too soon because back what we saw last year, it almost seemed like it was barely a concept. Like it seemed like a concept trailer, and that was about it. I feel like I don't think we're gonna see it. Perfect. This is one of those situations where they show it and then we don't hear from it again for like 2-3 years. In my opinion, anyways.
Yeah.
God of War Ragnarok.
I think we'll see a trailer of this more than.
I think it's highly likely. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean. That is apparently coming next year, according to Sony, and I believe it. I think we'll see it in some form. Horizon Forbidden West, it'll probably pop up in some way, shape, or form. But we've seen so much of that game at this point. I think it's just time to wait it out and play it.
Just fucking
Prince wanted to make sure I mentioned Power Stone 3. I don't know what he's smoking. I don't think Power Stone is much of a thing these days.
So that's owned by Sega, right?
Yeah, and there hasn't been a new Power Stone since I want to say like 2002 or something. There's like a cell phone game or something in like 06 or something, but like, I mean, Power Stone would be cool. I haven't played Power Stone since the Dreamcast, and I loved it, but
yeah, I wouldn't put it past Sega in the next several years to start doing those more compilation releases from the Dreamcast era.
Is it Sega or Capcom? I thought Power Stone was Capcom.
Somebody
in chat help me out. I want to say Power Stone is Capcom.
Sega.
And And if it's Capcom, I think you're thinking Sega because it was on the Dreamcast at one point. But like,
Maybe
I'm pretty sure it's a Capcom game. If somebody in chat could confirm this
You know
for
what?
me,
I think you're right.
yeah,
I think you're right.
Power Stone is Capcom. If Capcom revives Power Stone before Dino Crisis or Onimusha, I will flip a goddamn table. All right. Sorry, Prince. I don't think it's happening, but good try. Avowed. We don't know much about Avowed. This is the oh god, what's the name of the studio? Why am I totally blanking on this?
The Pillars of Eternity guys.
Obsidian.
Yeah, Obsidian. Thank you. This was kind of like announced. I think it was announced on the same day that Outer Worlds is. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Worlds
is the Obsidian. Yeah.
Outer Worlds 2 was announced. They got this as well, and this is more of like a high fantasy thing, but we didn't really see much of anything of it. So like I think that's a possibility. Obsidian seems to be really moving fast with their development, especially considering how fast we got Outer Worlds 2 announced. So yeah, I think we could absolutely see. I think we're gonna see at least one big high fantasy RPG shown, whether it's Dragon Age or Avowed or Final Fantasy 16. One of those. I think one of those will have to be shown on Thursday. Just one.
Yeah,
just one. At least one. Come on, guys. SMG wanted to mention a new console Nier project, like a core Nier project, and I think that's probably wishful thinking as well.
Yeah. I mean, we just got Replicant, so...
Yeah, and that was... You know what? Nier Automata was an incredible success, and Replicant was probably released as kind of like a stopgap in between that and whatever's next for that franchise, as like far as original content goes, so...
Which one, Nick?
Wait, what?
Which Nier did you say?
Replicant?
Automata? Yeah, you mean Nier Replicant version 1.22474487139?
God damn it, Nolan.
Nier Replicant square root of 2?
Yes. Nolan. That's
Is
the
that
one
really
I'm
the square root of 2?
I think it is.
I don't think that's how that works.
Somebody in chat can figure this out.
Square root of 2 is 1.414213.
Or no, it's square root of 1.5. I'm sorry, 1.5. That's what it is.
Of 1.5 is 1.22474487139. So yeah, you're right. It's the square root of 1.5.
Either way, it's dumb.
This is now the math podcast.
Yeah, the Drunken Merchant says Nier Reincarnation came out in February. That was the mobile game, right?
Yeah.
So a teaser next week could be realistic. Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, Nier Automata, incredibly popular. Put Nier on the map, it's a big deal. So sure, why not? That's one of those weird projects that you could see pop up on stage at Game Awards. And the last game we have on our list, Fable. As much as I want this to happen, I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening at the Game Awards.
Yeah,
I think it's
an E3 game, and I think I'm going to be pretty mad if they don't show an acorn falling from a tree and growing another tree. They have to show it, right? They got to.
Yeah, I mean,
that's been promised for, and then your kid is going to see it grow into a tree. They got to show. They finally got to live up to the dream.
Yes, just got to finish what Peter Molyneux started. I don't know.
I mean, you say that, but in reality, that's definitely possible nowadays with technology. It's very easy to plant the seed in a game and have a tree form X amount of time later. That is definitely something that's easily doable nowadays.
May I throw out two more real quick?
Sure.
Yeah. First one, Stalker 2. We got some gameplay at E3 of that, but that's due out in April. And they really haven't done any marketing since then. So this is a good opportunity for them to really get that game out in the front of people's faces.
I think that'll be pushed, to be totally honest. But it's another game that I feel like would be a weird fit for the Game Awards. It's just one of those things I can't really articulate why. It just feels in my bones like a weird fit for the Game Awards. And I wish I could explain it.
I think it's the best opportunity in the next 4 to 5 months for them to show that game off to as big an audience as possible.
Microsoft doesn't do it as often as Sony, but they have been known to do their own like digital showcase kind of things where they do some random event in the middle of a month where it's like we're going to show off like 30 new games or something, or 30. It's kind of like the state of play, but not as frequent. So that could do that before. Yeah. Who knows? But yeah, you're right. We probably need to see some more of that actual gameplay before. But again, Game Awards not really big on showing like extended gameplay trailers. It's usually just cinematic trailers with maybe short snippets of gameplay.
Announcements.
The Drunken Merchant mentions a few other things that I forgot to mention. Hogwarts Legacy. Is that what it's called? Hogwarts Legacy? Yeah.
Yes.
I really want to fucking see this game. Like part of me hates myself for that, but I really, really want to see this game. It's one of my most anticipated games, period, right now. In fact, if we saw more of this and got like a release date for it, there's potential for me to be more excited for this than Elden Ring, personally. So I would love to see another look at that because it's been a while. He also mentions Indiana Jones and Contraband, both of which we've seen teasers at the Game Awards in the past, so it might make sense to see another short teaser of one of those. There's a lot of games that are kind of like he says that are kind of in the dark right now, so we might see pop up next week.
Indiana Jones is too early to show. I think Machine Games is they're already working on another project right now.
That's very much like IO Interactive.
The game's a concept.
Yeah,
with the James Bond game.
And then Contraband. Contraband has a better chance because Avalanche has been working on that for a while.
And we just don't know what the fuck it is yet.
It's a heist game. It's a cooperative heist game.
Yeah, but like beyond that, like nobody knows what the fuck it looks like or what to expect
if it's just like co-op heist, Just Cause, boom, you have my money.
So I want to see it. I want to see all those things. Did you have a second one you wanted to mention?
Yeah, I wanted to mention. So one of the acquisitions from the Bethesda purchase was Roundhouse Studios, and that was one of the studios that hasn't revealed what they're working on. And I added them in my video prior to E3 about announcements I wanted to see this year. But Roundhouse, in case nobody knows about them, they're Human Head. And I'm not just saying like Human Head personnel. They're Human Head Studios.
Just with a new name.
Yeah, just with a brand new name. So back in 2019, they released Rune 2, and then the next day, they shuttered. But that same day, Bethesda came to them with a deal and basically kept everyone on. Everyone stayed on, and now they're working on something. And nobody has any idea what it is, but supposedly... I mean, technically speaking, these are the people that were working on the original vision for Prey 2.
Yes.
I'm not saying they're working on Prey 2, but
sounds like you're saying they're working on Prey 2.
I'm just saying,
it sounds like you're saying they're working on something that resembles Prey 2, but is no longer called Prey 2. That's what it sounds like you're saying.
That's kind of what I'm saying, because this would have been the right time for them to pitch that idea. Now that they're owned by Bethesda, which is now owned by Microsoft, which gives them a war chest to make stuff with, people remember that Prey 2 demonstration.
I like the way you think, Chris Davis. I remember that Prey 2 demonstration like it was yesterday, and I loved it. But I'm kind of with White Fang. Let it die.
Fuck you. No.
Just let it die. All right.
No. That's like saying let world peace die, Nick. Why would you say that?
Yeah, how dare you?
Okay, that's something everyone wants.
I'm just trying to like keep your expectations in check to some extent. I'm terrible at that myself. But, I will say this, the Game Awards, there's almost always like 2 or 3 very quick announcements for things that are like way off in the horizon, but they're usually things that are like very unexpected or something that we've never seen or heard of before. So yeah, that whatever the fuck they're working on could easily fit that bill.
We didn't have anything from Ubisoft. That's interesting.
Well, it's not Splinter Cell. So let's move on.
Yeah, that's true.
To some impressions this week. Real quick, before we transition, I want to announce the winner as voted for Game of the Year, as voted by the live audience watching us record this podcast right now, with 39.29% of the vote. It Takes Two.
Hey.
So, and the next one down was only 18% of the vote, and that was Psychonauts 2. So our community seems very, very, very supportive of It Takes Two.
I'd like to thank the 2,438 people who voted, who are watching us live. Thank you, everyone. Much appreciated for participating in our poll. Great audience live here.
GG. Nice, Nolan. Nice. All right. So yeah, It Takes Two. Very, very good video game. You're probably going to hear more about that when we get to our Game of the Year discussions. But now, let's do some quick impressions. I don't know where we want to start. Nolan, do you want to give us an update on? I know you've been playing a lot of Metal Gear.
What? Who told you that?
The doc.
You did. Oh yeah, and the doc. So where are you at?
I'm currently playing both Metal Gear 3 and Metal Gear Solid 3 and Metal Gear Solid 4.
Both of them at the same time.
Because Bernadette wants to be there for all of 3. And so when she's not around that I'm playing, I play 4. And if she comes and hangs, and so it's mainly I'm almost done with 3. I'm at the end, but I've put the finishing touches on it.
The end is only about halfway through the game.
That is one thing I will say, that I'm going through Metal Gear Solid 3 a lot faster than I remembered, but I think it's also just because I know exactly where I'm going, because I played that game so many times. But I will say, kind of what I brought up a while back, I am enjoying the story a whole lot more than I did when I was younger. I understand even though it's a complex Hideo Kojima story, I understand the whole,
the illusion,
conflict.
Right?
Well, yeah, it's just kind of about, the politics side of it. When I was younger, I didn't care. I wanted to shoot dudes in the face and run around with a crocodile on my head. That's what I wanted to do when I was younger. But now I actually am.
Creatures.
Yeah, I am paying attention more to the story and getting it and understanding it, and so that's good. 4, I've beaten 3 times now, and that's because I'm going for all the emblems. And wait, so
3 times, in this, recently or total?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
The first time I finished in 36 hours, but that's because one of the emblem requires you to finish the game in at least 35 hours. So I just left my game running while I was sitting in a barrel, to rack up the time.
That's such a weird that's such a weird requirement.
It's so dumb. A lot of them are dumb, especially because a lot of the emblems, I don't say contradict, but they stop you from getting. There's 4 emblems that are all very opposite. It's get less than 75 alerts, and the other one's get more than 75 alerts, and it's fuck you, you did that on purpose, and I have to fucking do multiple playthroughs just to get those. Get at least 25 continues. Get less than 25 continues. It's
it reminds me of Demon Souls. In order to get all the achievements, you have to unlock every spell, and you need to beat the game 3 times in order to get all the spells.
But all that being said, in reality, the playthroughs go super quick, sub 3 hours probably, if you know what you're doing and you're just running to the end.
It's weird. I remember them as so much bigger than that, but yeah.
Well, it's one of those things when you're first experiencing it and you don't know where to go and you're kind of exploring and you're messing with the mechanics, you definitely spend a whole lot more time.
And you're watching all the cutscenes.
I think that I don't remember. Someone can look it up. I think there's approximately 8.5 hours of cutscenes if you were to just play them back to back.
The last ending cutscene is super long. It's an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. My first playthrough, I did watch all the cutscenes because it was kind of me just re-exploring the game.
Right.
And now that I'm kind of going through it again, my first playthrough was that big long one, the 35-hour one. My second one was a no-kill run. The first one, I had to get at least 500 something kills, which is actually kind of difficult to get that many kills. The current one I'm on, I'm doing some random one, but I think the next one I'm going to go for the big boss emblem, which is the hardest one to get. You have to beat it in under X amount of time, no alerts, no kills, no continues, on the big boss mode, which is the more difficult one. So that's the one I'm going to do next. But just kind of enjoying the Metal Gear games. I mean, it's one of those things where that was my favorite games growing up, and I've been enjoying it. Awesome. And I'm gonna keep doing it.
Beautiful. So you're gonna go. I guess you only really have 5 after you get through 3 and 4. Mm-hmm. Nice, very nice. Mm-hmm. Ed, what have you been playing? I know you said you haven't played a ton lately. That you want to talk about, but anything noteworthy?
Yeah, I mean, I played and finished Metroid Dread over the Thanksgiving break. Since I had a lot of time with the Switch.
Good game.
Yeah, great game. And it's actually my second 2D Metroid. I played Super Metroid earlier this year for the first time. and I now played Metroid Dread, and I'm looking forward to giving Fusion and Zero Mission a try on the Game Boy Advance, and then probably find my hands on the 3DS Samus Returns to kind of round out the 5.
Nice.
So, yeah, I mean, like Nolan said, great game, loved it, had a lot of fun. It's hard.
Shockingly good, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult, especially in the Emmy zones when you're trying to like dodge around the Emmys and like stealth through and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun though, because it like brought a different change of pace to the gameplay, and so really liked it.
Land a killing blow on one of the Emmys.
I know,
it's like,
it feels really
super
good.
satisfying.
Yeah. I started playing Eastward on the Switch after I finished Metroid Dread, and then I started playing Tales of Arise on the PS5. So don't have a lot to talk about with Tales of Arise. I kind of just started. I've got to the first boss. And so I think after that it kind of maybe opens up a little bit more.
So let me tell you, I had made this proclamation that I was going to finish Tales of Arise. It'd be my first Tales of game, and I still think I'm going to do that. But I had originally I was like, I'm going to do it before the end of the year. And after I played for about 25 hours, and I realized it doesn't really open up. It's kind of, I mean, like the environments are beautiful and the character stuff is pretty interesting, but like in some ways, to me, it feels like Final Fantasy 13, just in terms of like the
No,
you're always going down straight paths. I mean, every once in a while it gives you like a field to kind of run around,
right?
But like, and then it funnels you right back into a pathway,
right? Yeah, I mean, so like I know Brad was talking about in his video too before this segment that he was kind of down on it too. So I mean, it'll be something that I'll have there to play on my PS5. I still have to finish Returnal, so I might switch back over to that, since I'm at that like halfway point in Returnal where you restart halfway again instead of restarting at the beginning. So
after that crazy like twist, that story twist.
Yeah, so like I feel like if I just go deep into that again, then I'll be able to get to the finish point before the end of the year. But I have a lot of things on my PC and stuff that I want to play as well. I tried to get back into Outriders, that multiplayer shooter game that I talked about, because I wanted to see how it looked and performed with my new graphics card. It still doesn't perform well. It's been out for like 6 months, and it's like, come on! I had this new graphics card. I want to use it. I don't want to just use it to play Star Wars: The Old Republic and Final Fantasy 14.
It just ain't optimized.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. I restarted playing Star Wars: The Old Republic a little bit. I've been trying to get through. I want to get through all the class stories, and I still haven't gotten close to finishing my Jedi Knight one, so which is the first character I've put. Well, it's kind of tricky because I think like for the first character, my Jedi Knight, I've been trying to just focus on like kind of doing the story of the planets that I'm visiting, as well as the main class story, and I feel like once I do a new character, I won't have the reason to kind of do those class stories again. From everything that I can tell, you don't need to do the planet stories anymore in order to level up, in order to stay at level. So you can just do your class story, and that's enough for you to get through things. So, I think from what I've heard, like it's like maybe 8 to maybe 15 hours of gameplay per class story. If you just focus on the class story.
And there's like 8 or 9 classes, right?
There's 8 classes. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, that's not terrible.
Are you going to do all of them, or are you just doing kind of the one that you're focusing on?
Well, I'm doing Jedi Knight right now because that was the character that I rolled when it first came out a while ago, and I just haven't finished that story. And I plan on doing all of them, just not like anytime soon. It's one of those things where I'll just like when I get bored, I'll go back and visit the game again. It's always going to be there for me to play for the most part. So
that reminds me, we didn't mention this in our predictions thing, but like there's a remake of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic in development. Maybe that pops up next week or something. Who knows? From Aspire. Anything else you wanted to mention, or?
No, that's about it. I think I'm looking forward to the spring for sure, especially February. It's gonna be banger after banger. I'm so excited.
I'm excited, and then I'm gonna be stressed out because I'm not gonna have enough time not enough hours in the day to play all of them.
Nick, I have not played a new game in like 3 months.
Yeah. You've been going hard at Metal Gear.
Yeah, every emblem that you unlock is just the next game. That's the next game for you.
Basically. Not even that. Me and Bernadette played, so much Sackboy. And the next game we're gonna play is Stardew Valley. So I mean, it's like one of those things where it's just like I'm not playing a whole lot of new games right now. Sorry, White Fang's right. I did play Metroid. I have played Metroid recently, so that's
good.
true.
Play what makes you happy.
So I guess I played this kind of dumb game called Halo. I played a little bit of that. It wasn't that good though.
As soon as our stream ended, you immediately uninstalled it, and I did
100%.
Man, and meanwhile, I'm sitting here like I'm super excited to play Halo next week. Chris Davis, what do you had something on the dock you wanted to talk about?
Well, I had a couple. I wanted to quickly mention that I finally got in my copy of Luigi's Mansion 3, and I played through that.
Good game.
That's a great video game.
Yeah.
I mean, all three of those games are charming as hell and fantastic.
Oh yeah, I didn't play Dark Moon because that was 3DS, but
Dark Moon is so good.
Ringtone in Luigi's Mansion 3 is the ringtone on my phone right now, and it's been that way since Luigi's Mansion 3 came out. It has been on my phone, and I don't know when it's going to come off. I love that ringtone.
It will be your ringtone until the end of time. It's that good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed playing through that.
You liked Gooigi?
Gooigi was okay. I think they used a few too many puzzles with him. But it was nice to see like almost every screen had some kind of puzzle to it to explore.
Yeah,
dude, that game is like surprisingly packed with like. I mean, I don't know why I say surprisingly. Like, it's a Mario property. It's a Nintendo game. It shouldn't shock me. But like, yeah, every room, every floor of that hotel, like it's just everything. It's just packed with shit,
with secrets and stuff like that. Yeah,
I captured all the ghosts except for the movie producer guy because he didn't attack me and I liked him. So, but there's so much to that game. Even if you got all the ghosts and got all the booze, you still may just get a B rating in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a long haul game. It was good.
It is a big game.
But the main one I wanted to talk about tonight is a little game called Shakedown Hawaii.
Didn't this come up fairly recently? Not necessarily like a game we talked about impressions wise, but it sounds so familiar. Anyways, roll the footage. I want to see what this thing looks like.
So, after the GTA Definitive Edition came out and flopped hard critically, I kind of still wanted that kind of experience, but a good version of that. And then I remembered I had been wanting to play
GTA.
Yeah, this is a homage parody of the Generation 1 of GTA, the top-down PlayStation 1 era stuff.
Yeah.
This is from V-Blank Entertainment. Their other game, their previous game that they made back in 2012 was called Retro City Rampage, and it was basically smaller capacity. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is a full-on parody game. You play as an aging CEO who's been out of touch with society since the 80s, who just recently found out that his company is about to just circle the drain and just go under. And it is him committing crimes with his son, going around this island in Hawaii trying to rebuild his business. And it's pretty fun.
The concept.
It's very simple. I would honestly describe it kind of like somewhere like a combination of classic GTA and maybe a bit like WarioWare. Because it's not necessarily a long game. Like a GTA game is like 50, 60 hours if you do it.
Yeah. Well, not the first generation GTA games, but
well, maybe I didn't play those originals like a lot of people. But this game has 118 missions with 30 or so side quests and a bunch of different stuff, and you can knock out missions inside of 5, maybe 10 minutes maximum. And it's just you going around town and just buying subsidiaries and then shaking down like retail businesses to get protection money and building up your business in the most scummy ways possible.
It's funny you call this a parody, but I was like, this sounds like this would fit in like a normal GTA game to some extent, because GTAs in and of themselves are almost like parodies of society, and I mean they're not almost, they are parodies of societies and society in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but so this is the absurdity here is well beyond anything GTA has ever done.
It's ratcheted up a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so you're like this aging early 60s out of touch CEO who is learning about modern commerce and capitalism and just finding just the absolute worst ways to try to earn money and build back his business.
So it's like Vice City? You're playing as Ray Liotta?
You're basically 60-year-old Ray Liotta. But you haven't been conscious of the world since like 1985. So he's driving around
from Vice City.
Like he's driving around and he's got like an 80s style like brick cell phone. Like not even a cell phone, a mobile phone.
It's like Austin Powers. You've been woken up and have no idea how anything works. I like the tablet he was just using was accessing a website on the World Wide Web.
Yeah,
and it looked like it was full of animated GIFs and
trying to sell him like ads selling him fiber pills, which he's in this footage. He's just realizing that personalized ads exist and there's advertising agencies that can detect your search algorithms and sell you dedicated stuff to your account. Like he's just learning about all the stores.
Not everyone's seeing these ED ads. It's just me. I'm the only one.
Yeah. It's
yes. No.
It's just you. Yeah. And it is. I wouldn't say it's laugh out loud funny, but the situations you get into like never stop being entertaining.
Is it force air out of your nose funny?
Yes. At a good number of times, yes, it is.
All right.
I've never heard it described like that. Okay.
That's what it is. It's when you're reading something, you're just like, you do that little, you just, yeah.
Oh like man, I think this the name for this week's show.
Like this, the storyline I'm looking at in my footage right here is that one of the original brands that this company owned, the Feeble Incorporated owned, is called Coca-Cola, and they just they can't sell their fucking product no matter how much they rebrand it or something like that. Like they proudly market that it's made with excremental. Yeah,
I mean, honestly, that sounds like something that would fit in an actual GTA game. To be totally honest,
yeah.
But that is entirely the tone of this game. Just like it's absurd in the language and just everything you do in here.
And it's got a really nice look to it. I like the.
It does.
I mean, it's got that nice like crisp modern version of a retro visual style that is so popular these days. But it works like it does in a lot of cases. But it's a nice. And it takes place in Hawaii. It's nice and vibrant. I like it.
It does look a lot like Hawaii. I've been there.
Yeah, and if you're a person that kind of likes those real estate ownership games where you're buying properties and building them out and increasing your profits and things like that, this game is fucking made for you. Because I don't show this until like really later into the footage that I recorded, but like you're going around the entire map and you're shaking down businesses, and if you're successful, then you can purchase those businesses outright. Then you can add different types of multipliers to increase how much money you get from them.
Exponential growth, right?
Exponential growth. That's all. That's what this fucking game is. Like I'm building out and I am purchasing out entire neighborhoods to drive up the real estate pricing.
Oh, that's
and then I'm completing storylines to where I'm trying to outdo the other megacorp in town, Feather Bottom Incorporated, who's trying to buy you out. And it's a lot of fun.
Cool. Shakedown Hawaii.
Shakedown Hawaii.
I believe it's pronounced Hawaii.
Hawaii. Shakedown Hawaii.
and it's rarely like $10 or less. It's on Switch, PS4, PC. It's a fun thing, and it's a great alternative if you were just so pissed off at the GTA remasters.
Yep, which a lot of people were. Good call. Good call. Okay, I have one quick mention. Well, so I'm playing Inscription. That's going pretty well. I'm at that point now where anything I say about it, I'd be spoiling stuff, and I don't.
Yeah,
really
so that's
want
I was going to
spoil that
bring up,
stuff.
Nick. I haven't played it in a little while, and so that makes it tough to talk about because I do want to know what happens. But obviously, I don't know. I don't think I did.
You would know.
Okay, well then I definitely haven't.
You would know.
Okay, well, I need to keep playing it then.
Yeah, it's very cool, and like it has a flow to it, and it does some unique stuff storytelling wise. I'm still not kind of sure where it's going story wise, but it's let me just say this: there is a shift at some point in that game where it is both intriguing and kind of off-putting, because the game has such a good visual language up until a certain point, and then at some point that visual language becomes a lot harder to decipher just at a glance. And without saying, I can't really say much more about that without spoiling it, but still a really, really cool game, and I'm going to finish it. The game I have footage for that I wanted to briefly talk about, I mentioned this in the first segment, was The Forgotten City. I think somebody talked about this already at some point in a previous episode. I can't remember.
Yeah, Brad's mentioned it in his videos.
Okay, okay. So maybe this is the first time I've just shown footage, but yeah. So this game is the one that started as a Skyrim mod way back in the day. This has been in development, like Chris Davis said, for quite a while. And it essentially it's a game that kind of boils down to, it's a time loop game. It's one of those. So and I'm only like 3 or 4 hours into it at this point, so I'm not quite sure where it falls for me in terms of like the games that I consider like the gold standard now of time loop games, i.e. Outer Wilds. Or Outer Worlds. Wait, god damn it. I'm getting so confused.
Outer Wilds, you're right.
I hate that those two things exist.
It's not even that they exist, it's that they came out so close to each other too.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts. But yeah, like Outer Wilds, absolutely fucking incredible. It's not quite there for me yet, but I'm still pretty early, and I'm having a great time exploring this world and kind of figuring out what's going on, to the point where I think it will eventually get there. So you, at the beginning of this game, you wake up on the side of a river. There's this lady there, and she's like,
in a van?
No, I mean it's modern day though, and she's just like, there's this lady who's like, can you please help me? I have a friend who went into this they've found these ruins of this like this old Roman temple. He went in there a while ago, and he hasn't come back, and he told me not to come looking for him no matter what. Can you go look for him? And being the nice person that I am, I agreed, because that's also the only way the game will progress. So I went in searching for him, and you end up falling into this into this hole in the ground. And when you wake up, you are basically in Roman times, in this like ancient city. But it's like everybody in this city.
So it's kind of like the Black Knight.
Wait.
The film, The Black.
Oh, okay. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Has no one here seen The Black Knight?
I don't.
Okay, sorry. Let me rephrase. Is it kind of like A Kid in King Arthur's Court?
Yeah, I would say
you
so.
Heathens. How have none of y'all seen either of those movies?
I know of A Kid in King Arthur's Court. I've just never seen it.
Well, that gets you some points, I suppose. Don't worry, Nolan. If
Nick, you better add that to your Letterboxd.
All right, I will, and I can't wait to give it.
That's gracious, Chris Davis.
I can't wait to give it 4 stars, and then have everybody tell me what. I can't believe you think this is better than Star Wars: A New Hope. But anyway,
I mean, I could make a debate for A Kid in King Arthur's Court being better than Star Wars: A New Hope.
Fair enough.
I'm just kidding. That's a lie.
That's a lie. Okay, I have no idea. Anyways, everybody in this city ended up there in the same way that you did, more or less. They all but you can't leave. So you and this city is kind of self-sustaining, and everybody's living together and working together, but nobody can leave. And they all have to adhere to the golden rule. And the golden rule basically says if one person sins, everybody will turn to gold. Like everybody will die. Everybody will be punished for the sins of the one. So like, but nobody really knows what the golden rule is. so they don't know what law they would have to break to do it. So you are told that somebody is about to break the golden rule, and the point of the game is you basically have to go talk to everybody and find clues to kind of figure out who is about to break the golden rule and stop them.
I mean, it seems like somebody already broke the golden rule because you're running into people.
I mean, there are signs of a previous civilization that had already gone through this cycle and broke the golden rule. So there's golden statues of people everywhere. But like this is a very like large space to explore. Like it doesn't really feel like it at first, but like I'm like 3 or 4 hours in, and I'm constantly just finding new pathways and hallways and stairs and just things to look for. And there's people everywhere, and depending on when you talk to them or where they are in the environment, like they're going about their daily lives. So depending on where you decide to engage with them, their dialogue will change, and it's keeping track of all the clues that you're finding, and you're building up like an objective list and trying to figure out trying to solve all these different things that will hopefully eventually lead you to figure out who's going to break the golden rule. So I've only done like 2 full loops, I think, so far, and it's really neat. It also feels to some extent kind of like Return of the Obra Dinn in terms of like you're finding all of these little clues that suggest different things, and then you kind of have to figure out what they mean, and they all kind of tie into in some way the underlying mystery that I haven't solved yet. So I don't know what's going on there. But it's cool. It's fascinating. There's lots of little like neat twists and turns and everything. But the funny thing is, and I mentioned this earlier, like I completely forgot this was started as a Skyrim mod, but when you remember that and you're playing it, it makes total sense. I'm like playing this, I'm like, these people move and animate and talk very, very similarly to Skyrim or to
very 2011.
Very 2011. Right? I mean, I think the facial animations are quite a bit better here, and the environment's quite a bit better. Also, I don't know why all the footage that I give you ends up being choppy like this, but it does not look like that when I'm recording it. Does anybody know the reason for this? It's driving me crazy.
Chris Davis's fault somehow. I don't know how.
Anyways,
somehow.
That's neither here nor there. That keeps happening with me. Whatever. But yeah, I think this is a really fantastic game so far, and I can't wait to kind of continue to unravel it. This could very well be like one of my favorite games of the year if it continues kind of down the trajectory that it's going. But I hear great things about it from people who have finished it. So yeah, that's my plan. That is my plan. I also want to mention I bought 2 games on sale that I'm going to try and squeeze in before the end of the year as well. Lost in Random, which was that like Tim Burton-esque like dice rolling game. And They Always Run, which we talked about when we were talking about all those demos from whatever that event was. I don't remember.
The Steam event.
That's right. So yeah, I bought both of those. Gonna try and squeeze them in. Who knows if I'll have time, but they both look really cool. And yeah, that's it for impressions this week, guys. Let's just wrap it up with the 4-player minute. Who wants to start us off? Anybody? Any volunteers? Ed, looks like you're raising your hands. Okay,
I'm ready.
Cool. I couldn't tell if you were like getting ready to like scratch your head or something, or if you were actually volunteering.
Okay. I am ready. I have 4 hypes and a thank you. Hype number 1 is for The Expanse Season 6. Comes out tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow?
It is.
I am so far behind.
It is the final season on Amazon in its current way. They're talking about maybe doing like movies or something after that, or something like that to follow the last 3 books in the trilogy or in the series. They're doing 1 episode a week until January 6th, so there's only 6 episodes. It'll be great. I'm so excited. It's gonna be great. Hype number 2 is for Leviathan Falls, the 9th Expanse book. It came out on Tuesday. I am 30% of the way through it, and I am loving it because this is my favorite book series, and it's also my favorite show. And it's so good. It's so good.
This is a question. Is that you said it's the 9th book?
The 9th and final book.
Is it written by the same guy who started written the series?
Yes.
I can't. Okay. I can remember this is one of those situations where like the original author passed away or something.
No.
Was, like,
so they're all written by 2 guys under a single pseudonym. So it's the same people that have been working on it from the beginning. So just every moment this is why I don't have a lot to talk about this week, because I've just focused on reading instead.
Cool.
Third hype. Mass Effect TV series, if being produced by Amazon, if it's anywhere as good as The Expanses, which was also produced by Amazon, at least the last 3 seasons were, also produced by Amazon, I am so excited for this.
Did you
Just
see?
beyond
Speaking of
excited.
Rahul, remember Rahul? Nolan was
Yeah.
talking about him earlier. Did you see his? He tweeted at Amazon to like recommend, like, hey, by the way, Amazon, here's your FemShep if you're wondering. And it
Right.
was it's Mike Flanagan's wife who's in all of his stuff. She was in The Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, Midnight Mass.
Ah.
Y'all watched Midnight Mass?
No,
No,
not yet.
What?
It's on my
Y'all should
to-do,
wa-
Nick.
Y'all should watch Midnight Mass. It's fucking good. But yeah, I can't remember her name. Maybe somebody in chat will remember off the top of my head. But she is incredible in all 3 of those shows. And she looks like fucking FemShep. And I was like, if they cast her, I'm in. Totally in. So,
yeah, I mean,
sorry.
if they do FemShep, right?
They have to do FemShep, right?
Yeah, they have to.
85% of players did male shep.
That's because 85% of players are sexist males.
All true. All right. Anyway, the 4th hype is for Halo Infinite. Saw the campaign trailer the other day, and I'm totally in. I watched a video to catch me up on what happened between Halo 5 and Halo Infinite. So I'm just ready for more Halo. I'm ready for this campaign. I think it's going to be way better than it has any right to be based on Halo 5's performance and stuff like that.
That would be quite the turnaround, like, just based on like the impressions people had when they first showed it. I think people are going to be I think it's going to be kind of the opposite. People are going to be like, "This is amazing" when it finally drops.
Yeah, I've heard some good things, like from people that have gotten insider previews of it. So yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Finally, my thank you. This is like really really old news, but everyone remembers when Sony decided to shut down the PlayStation 3 and PSP stores. And then there was a big hubbub about it. Everyone was like, why are you doing this? And then they were like, okay, we won't do that. Well, it turns out a couple of months later, they announced that you will still be able to buy things, but you have to use PlayStation credit for it. So it is the exact reason that Nolan and I said why they were shutting it down. It was for payment processing reasons, security reasons. So instead, what you have to do is you have to load your PlayStation credit on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4. Then you can go to the PS3 store and buy it directly, and they don't have any connection to your credit card anymore.
Okay.
It is exactly the kind of happy medium that I was hoping would come out of this, and so I just want to thank Sony for taking the long view of things. With perspective of this, I know as an engineer, I know it was very easy to say let's shut all this shit down, but they listened to their fans.
Throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak.
They listened to their fans, and they came up with a solution that was secure and also allowed people to still have access to that store. So
nice,
more secure.
Yeah. I mean, like PlayStation credit is easier for them to refund versus having to deal with credit card stuff. So,
right,
yes, for sure.
Cool. All right, who is next? Nolan.
Sure. My 4-player minute starts now. My hype is my PS5 SSD I just got. My PS5 now has 2.6 terabytes of space on it. I can download like 5 games. I'm so excited. Dude, those games are so fucking big. Some of the newer games are so fucking big. Seriously, I transferred I think 3 games from my PS5 hard drive onto my external, my internal SSD. It was like 350 gigs. And it's like, there goes, like almost a fourth of my storage. But yeah, super hyped for that. I'm glad I got a good deal on one. My sweat goes to 2021 games. I have not played as many as I would like to. I've kind of been in a mood to play older games, but don't get me wrong, I still like new games, and some of the ones I've been hearing about are pretty good. I am taking a week off later this month, just because I barely take any time off this year, and so during that week, I'm going to try and just play new games and catch up on some of the ones I haven't got to play this year. My thank you is going to go to Bernadette for playing through all of Sackboy's Big Adventure with me. I don't know if I was on the show, by last time I was on here, if we had finished it. But we have, besides just like the one-time trial thing, and it was a lot of fun playing that with her. And then my fuck you is a preemptive fuck you to Jeff Keighley in the Game Awards if they don't bring back Schick Hydrobot. You cowards, bring him back. Why have you been hiding Schick Hydrobot from us? I know he's out there. Bring him back to the show.
I'm so sorry. Who is that?
God. What the fuck, Nick?
How do you not
Schick
know?
Hydrobot!
I'm
the
so sorry.
Star of the Game Awards, if we're being realistic here.
All right, you'll have to remind me after we finish this recording. Chris Davis, in the spirit of that rush, what's your 4-player minute?
Okay. My first hype this week is for Halo Infinite. I have been putting a lot of time into the multiplayer beta, especially now that they've updated the progression, which is much, much better than it was. It now rewards you very well for the first 6 matches, and in fact, you can level up inside of those first 6 matches without having to do any challenges. So that's great. But yeah, I'm just so ready to play this campaign, and from what I've been hearing, the limited things I've stumbled into hearing that I didn't really actually want to hear, pitch this as a really cool concept for an open world game that just suddenly turns into Halo. So
sounds cool to me.
I am all for it. My second hype this week is for an announcement that came out today. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe thing finally has a release window. It is content complete at this point. It's basically gold, and it's due out early next year. And this is a full-on reimagining of the original Stanley Parable, done by that same designer, with a design team at his back this time, and that same narrator. And Nick, I don't think you've ever played the Stanley Parable, have you?
I didn't. Is this the one?
This is the one, man. This is so good.
Right. Okay.
I love. Oh,
I'm not gonna be like crucified for like skipping the vanilla original Stanley Parable and going straight to this thing.
No, this is like a full reimagining from what I hear. So don't worry about that. Cool. I'm not certain I have the vocabulary to describe what the Stanley Parable actually is.
Not many people do. But
yeah,
it's
a good time.
It is a good time.
There we go.
It really is. My sweat goes to Battlefield 2042. It's getting better from what I understand. They just evidently just released a big new patch for it to fix a lot of issues. But the prospects of what's going on at DICE aren't good. So the general manager at DICE resigned today. And he's being replaced by Vince Zampella, the guy who helped start Respawn, the guy who created one of the guys who created Call of Duty is now in charge of the Battlefield franchise and has been given direction by EA to build a Battlefield universe.
Yeah, I heard about this.
Evidently with emphasis put on Ripple Effect, the studio that was responsible for making the Battlefield Portal section of 2042, basically giving them full reign to make the next Battlefield game. So what the fuck does that mean for the franchise then?
I don't know.
What does this mean for 2042?
Like big changes. I mean, I hope they don't completely abandon. I mean, 2042 has a lot of promise, so I just need to fucking fix it.
No, they're not going to abandon it. They've invested too much, and it's going to be years before we get to see what Ripple Effect's game is going to be.
Yeah,
Battlefield 2043,
2143. That would be something. That'd be amazing, actually. But for them to be in this position to where they've got turnover going on at DICE, one of the last studios at EA that was just relatively solid and untouchable by EA management.
It's a weird situation.
It's really fucking weird.
Yep.
And my fucky this week, I'm splitting it between Take-Two and Activision because both companies are really scummy at the moment, and fuck you to Bobby Kotick. Just fucking resign, you piece of shit.
We haven't really had much of a chance to talk about that. And I don't have much to say other than that guy's a piece of shit.
Very much so.
But, yeah.
The fact that VPs, presidents / higher ups, whatever. Each company had a different role from every other major, Nintendo, Sony, Xbox, all came out and were like, this guy's a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that all of them were like, hey, by the way, this guy needs some repercussions.
Yeah.
Something should happen.
Oh, show. So yeah, I second that, Chris Davis. Is there anything else you wanted to say about that, or was that your?
Nothing else needs to be said. Fuck them.
Yep. So my 4-player minute starts now. I got through 3 hypes and a thank you. My first hype this week goes to It Takes Two, and going back to that and playing it with my wife. We're very much excited about going back to it. We loved.
Wait, Nick, you got married?
I got married. I talked about that last week. I don't remember. But yes, I got married. I have a wife, and we're gonna play It Takes Two again.
Are you not excited to talk about that, Nick?
Yeah. I'm very excited to talk about it. I got married, and
it's exciting. Where's your ring, Nick?
It's actually in the bathroom. You noticed that?
Take off your wedding ring?
I took it off to take a shower earlier, and it just didn't find its way back onto my finger.
Look at the other 2 married men in this call.
I will go grab it right now if it makes you all feel better.
You take it off to take a shower?
Well, if I leave it on too long, which I did today, and I get out of the shower and I take it off, it's like a white band on my finger.
From like the soap or whatever.
And it's like turned, like it starts to like, you get like the pruny hands or whatever, but it's like right underneath where my ring is, and it's really annoying. I don't know.
I mean,
that's neither here nor there.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I'll accept it.
Neither do I. But sure,
I'll accept your world experience.
I'll take photographic evidence for you.
Please do.
I'll send it to you. But anyways, we're excited to play It Takes Two, very much so. Yes, I see your finger, Ed. My second hype goes to the Game Awards. I get excited for these things mostly because I really like announcements, and E3 is kind of a shell of its former self. And I don't know, Jeff Keighley gets excited about these things. It kind of makes me excited about these things. I don't know, it's kind of infectious. Even though I'm almost always disappointed to some extent, there's also been some really great, exciting announcements before.
I'm just ready for the cringe. Ooh, bring on the cringe.
I saw a video today on Reddit, and it was like this girl. It's like this girl, like I guess she was like a janitor or something at this like bank. I don't know what it was, but she was like, I think she was in like Japan or China or something. But she was like, it was after hours, and she was like dancing. She was like listening to music while she was like cleaning, and she started like dancing like hardcore, like K-pop dancing. Like she dropped her mop and started like dancing to the music or whatever, and then this guy walks in and then like starts watching her, and then she does one of those moments where she like turns around in this like dramatic fashion and then realizes there's this dude there. And I thought of Nolan, because I was like, I can't watch this, but Nolan would be
I'll watch it for you.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm excited for the Game Awards. I think there'll be some exciting stuff there. My third hype is for Halo Infinite campaign. Like everyone, like Chris Davis said and Ed mentioned, I think this sounds really cool, and it sounds ambitious for Halo. And I liked Halo 4. I wasn't a huge fan of Halo 5, but I don't know. This looks like it could be one of my favorites, just because I'm a huge fan of open world design, and if they blend that really well with what I already like about Halo, it could be really amazing. And my thank you goes to, this is also kind of a hype, man. If you follow me on social media and you've listened to the show at all, I'm in the midst of like a Dexter fugue state. I'm just.
You like Dexter, Nick?
I do like Dexter a lot.
Let me tell you something, Nick. Let me tell you something. I'm caught up.
Yeah. What do you think?
I've been watching. No, it's good. It's good. This last episode was pretty interesting.
Oh, good. Yeah. One of my favorite episodes of. Actually, are you watching the show? There is an egg. He's busting eggs in that episode. Are you watching the show?
No.
Chris Davis? No, of course not. Of course not. The point is, this whole Dexter thing that started has just turned into like this wave of incredible things that I'm gonna remember fucking forever. And like, I thought maybe the best thing I could ever hope for is like they'll do a movie. It'll be 2 hours long. It'll kind of give it a better ending than the original series, and that'll be that. But instead, we're like 4 episodes deep into a 10-episode series that's good, and I'm loving it, and I'm thankful to everybody who has, one, kind of turned this into such a memorable experience for me. And people who have been talking to me about it on social media and in Discord and all that stuff. I'm just having a great time. It's been great, and there's still 6 more weeks of this. You know what? I'm not even bummed that I couldn't get tickets to see Spider-Man on day 1. I don't need it. I don't need it. I got everything.
Can I bring up one problem I have
need.
with the season, Nick?
Sure.
One problem. Who the fuck is cutting Dexter's hair? Like, come on. He looks like a fucking nerd.
Maybe he just has like a flow.
He is kind of a nerd, and he's also been living in isolation. So
I get it, but come on.
You'd think his girlfriend would probably say something, right?
Right?
I don't know,
that's my only complaint so far.
Sometimes it's worse than other. Like sometimes it looks fine, and then other times, like a camera, he turns and somewhere I'm like, oh wow.
So he looks like an 8-year-old from 1992. Like it's pretty.
He supposedly has a kid canonically, right?
What do you mean supposedly canonically? That's a major part of this show. What do you
Chris
mean?
Davis.
I have seen one season of Dexter. That's it. Okay?
Dexter. Did Chris just spoil things again?
No. Chris Davis. He's had a kid since season 4 of that original show.
Okay.
So, and it's a major part of the season.
He's had a kid in the show more than he hasn't at this point.
Yes, absolutely. But you know what? If the haircut thing is the biggest thing we have to really be worried about, especially considering, like, man, even for me, someone who loves this show with all of my heart, watching that last season unfold and when it was airing was rough. It was rough.
Nick, so, I'm gonna do something. Anybody who any of the 2,843 people watching us live, I'm gonna post 2 images in chat. Okay.
Okay.
The first one is like a poster of like what Dexter looks like, kind of leading up to New Blood, right?
Okay.
And the second one is a screenshot from the show.
Oh.
So that's what he looks like on a poster, and then this is what he looks like actually in the show.
Let's see what you picked. It's not like that big a deal. I mean, there's worse. There's definitely worse.
There are worse ones, but still, like, he looks fine in that poster. But
someone needs to cut that man's bangs. Okay. Anyways,
they don't need to cut him. He just needs to do like the side sweep. If he just kind of swept it to the side a little bit, he would look 100 times better.
Do you
I just hope at some point
a comb?
I just hope at some point in the show, his girlfriend just looks like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And just fixes it. It just needs to happen.
Yeah.
Anyways, this has gone on longer than I intended. Guys, that is a wrap for our show tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Ed, thanks for joining us on short notice tonight. Really appreciate it. And we will be back next week. Like I said, no podcast next week. Instead, we're just going to be watching. If you want to watch the Game Awards, come watch it with us. We'll be hanging out, watching the cringe, hopefully seeing some cool announcements. And it'll be fun. It'll be a good time, one way or the other. I hope. Nolan, what's the guy's the hydro?
Shakehydrobot. What are you talking about?
Shakehydrobot. Yes, I hope he's back. I hope you get everything you wanted and more, Nolan, from the Shakehydrobot. Anyways, of course, guys. In the meantime, please join us in Discord at discord.gg/4player. If you want to support us financially, it's patreon.com/4player. We appreciate each and every dollar you'll send our way. And yeah.
Can I do one quick call out before we stop the recording?
Yeah, sure.
For those, if you happen to be listening to this within approximately 12 days and 14 hours of the recording, currently Humble Bundle has a deal on the Batman collection.
Ooh.
It is Lego Batman, Arkham Asylum Game of the Year, Lego Batman 2, Arkham City, Arkham VR, Arkham Origins, Lego Batman 3, and Arkham Knight Premium Edition, all for $10.
Really?
That is a pretty good deal on a bunch of good games.
That is true.
Just FYI.
Man. I feel like we should do more on our show to like call out good deals. I don't want to steal the CADcast thing, but I
don't know what that means. I thought you were going to be like, say, like Wario or something.
No, I mean cheap ass gamers, that's their thing. They highlight good deals and whatnot. But anyways, yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you guys next week, and we'll see you on the podcast in 2 weeks. Be safe, play video games, have fun. We'll see you later. Good night.
Bye.